Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Imlay, Nevada, a horribly bloody scene with unthinkable brutality combined with a series of strange events leads investigators to a person who claims to live in a pyramid. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today, again and again and again. We are so excited. We have one of the craziest people ever today as a subject of this story.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's one of these that it's a top 5 pocket Robin level crazy. We're talking. It's wild. So I can't wait to get to that. Before that, though, I just want to quickly thank everyone for everything you've done for us, of course, in the last week and forever. For the last few years, as a matter of fact.
You're absolute heroes.
Thank you. Yes, you are. Thank you for your reviews, first of all. Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. For some reason, those count heavily in the rankings and all that, so we appreciate it if you do that. 5 stars, doesn't matter what you say. You can tell us, like we've done before, tell us your favorite shape of cloud. There you go.
That's
our favorite
a good one.
Kind of cloud. I like seeing I like cumulus clouds under our reviews. That's fun. So do that. It doesn't matter what you say, honestly. It's just for business. It's not for our ego. So thank you for everyone, to everyone who's done that. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com right now for everything crime and sports and small town murder. And we're going to have a lot of updates on touring stuff
It's coming.
It's coming. Tons of updates on that. So get on that, and you probably want to follow also at Murder Small on Twitter and Facebook. That's Twitter, and then Facebook is at Small Town Pod, and then Instagram at Small Town Murder.
There you go.
For all your updates.
Figure it out there.
Also,
whoever runs Instagram gives a shit.
They care. There you go. So listen to Crime and Sports. I mean, you should be doing that already. I don't know what the hell you're thinking there. And also, P.S. I Hate This Movie, where I have to watch the entire Twilight series. So you can listen to my suffering there. Check out all that stuff. And especially, though, you certainly want to check out patreon.com/crime and sports. Yeah. You want to get on there right now. We have had such crazy shows. The last ones that came out a couple days ago, though, what a good run we had. We did the Hotel Cecil. We talked about that for Crime and Sports, which had nothing to do with sports, but that's okay. We talked about that documentary and the disappearance of Elisa Lam and the whole thing there. That was a really, really interesting one. And then on Small Town Murder, you missed the prisoner dating game. So you want to get in there. You get the whole back catalog if you subscribe. It's beautiful. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And that prisoner dating game, Jimmie really... He stepped in it hard on that one. It's his worst decision ever in any of the games.
For sure.
It's pretty good stuff. So even worse than the one where we had the guy murder him at the end during the virtual live show. Even worse than that, we'll say. So
sometimes you're blinded by the whatever it is.
Blinded by the love of the pen pal posting.
The exotic criminal.
Oh, boy. So Jimmie did that. You can check all that out and everything, the whole back catalog, patreon.com/crime and sports. And if you do that, you'll be a producer, which means you will get a shout out at the end of the show, and Jimmie will, in his best effort to pronounce your name perfectly, will brutalize it terribly and make it nothing near your name. But you'll recognize it. It'll be a fragment in there somewhere, but
there's been a couple people that are like, I don't think you said my name. I'm like, I definitely did. They're like, yeah, I don't think you said it. I don't think you said it right. I'm like, that's the charm, man.
I'm trying my best. So do that, and you'll be a producer. And you can also be a producer and have great karma if you just want to drop something on PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. And everything you guys do for us, everything everybody does, thank you so much. We're just overjoyed by it, and we're overwhelmed by it, honestly. We can't.
And stunned,
Thank you.
Whatever. There's a ton of words that describe the humility that we feel anytime any of you give a shit about us.
So, disclaimer, quickly.
Yep.
This is a comedy show. We're comedians. There is a murder story. Always. It's real.
Yeah.
We're not making anything up for comedic purposes. This is an actual terrible thing that happened, and there's going to be jokes. Not the jokes. That's the thing. The art of it is the jokes are not about really the murder stuff. That's the thing. No. You never hear us be excited about someone being decapitated or anything like that. But all the crazy stuff that goes around a murder the rest of the time, which is most of any murder story, it's hilarious when you think about it. Who thinks to do something like that? So we're going to make fun of that.
There's so many variables between choice of weapon, all kinds of things.
It's insanity. So that's what we go out of our way to not make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why?
Because we're assholes.
Yes.
We're not scumbags, Jimmie.
There is the deal.
That's how we do it. So if that sounds good to you, we are going to have a good time. If you think true crime and comedy just for no reason should ever go together, maybe the show's not for you. Maybe it is. Give it a shot, but don't complain later on if you go, there was jokes.
Heavily on it's not.
It's possible. You never know. So whatever. Either way, for the rest of you that are left, I think it's time to sit back and shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmie.
I can't wait.
Let's go on a
really
trip.
Excited.
I'm excited too. Let's do this. Let's get out of Mississippi, hot and humid and sticky. We're down by the Gulf there, and it's sticky down there where we were last week. That was a crazy story in Loosedale, by the way. That was one of those where it's strange because the guy seemed relatively on the range of normal otherwise, and then he's just like, I'll just commit the craziest murder ever recorded. I'll make up the most insane murder weapon that's not a weapon, and I'll turn it into one. And wow, if you missed last week, check out Loosedale, Mississippi, because it was a trip. But
it's something.
It's something. But this week we're going out west, Jimmie. Open spaces. We're going to Imlay, Nevada. Oh boy, you know where that is?
No,
no one knows where that is. I don't think.
Imlay.
Imlay with an M.
With an M.
Yeah. Imlay.
Not inlay.
Not inlay. Not like you're inlaying something. So this is northwest Nevada. It's about 2 hours to Reno. So when you're 2 hours outside of Reno, that's saying something. That's out there, man. That's out there. About 7.5 hours to Vegas, because people who aren't from that area might think Nevada, Vegas. It's nowhere near Vegas. I mean, it's
way up there.
Yeah, 7.5 hours. It might as well be,
that may as well be Idaho.
Yeah, that's so far. It's about 30 minutes to Winnemucca, Nevada, which was actually our last Nevada episode. Pretty close. Winnemucca, which was episode 131. You know when that was, Jimmy? All the way back of August 7th, 2019, which might as well be 150 years ago. So,
2000 what?
2001, Jimmy. That's when that was. No, 2019. It might as well have been 2001. It's insanity.
I don't even remember that year.
That's what I mean. It's in Pershing County, this town. Area code 775. 1.2 square miles is the actual kind of town proper, but the area itself that they call Imlay is about 34 kind of square miles. Okay. Kind of the area. It's high. This is in the mountains up there too. This is 4,200 feet of elevation in this town. So it's
really,
yeah. This area is normally don't give the elevation, but normally I don't think people are going to think that about Nevada. But it's. I
don't think anybody knows that Nevada really has that much of mountains.
Yeah, well, this is the northwest corner there. So there's mountains from the California range.
Oh, you mean the Sierra Nevadas?
The Sierra Nevadas that people don't think about. Now, town motto here. Yeah. Here we go. Town motto. There's two of them. One of them is more for in town, and one of them is more for out in the hills out, because this is gold mining country. Yeah. This is where people still to this day will like it's Deadwood will go get themselves a pick and a whatever that thing is, or that plate with holes in it where they seem to
pan.
There you go, the pan. Yeah, they get a pan and a pick, and they still go out there and they're going to make their fortune now. Which I feel like is a last-ditch effort at something. You've messed up a lot.
That sounds like it's pig Latin.
Yeah, Imlay on the Huske. This is not a
and pay and pay.
One motto here is just what you doing all the way out here. That's one you'd expect. It's very common. That's what everybody will ask you. Or if you get more in the hills in the gold, quote, "That's my gold, pew pew." So that's a different one. Those are the two most heard phrases in this area. So history of this town. It's an unincorporated town out there, just kind of sitting by itself. It has at this day, it has an elementary school, a general store, a post office, and a trading post.
It is 1720 there still.
It's like 1885 in this town.
Good
perennially,
God.
Just always. It was a railroad town that's now completely pretty much abandoned. It used to have more people, and now it doesn't. It was named for the nearby mine, or for the civil engineer who surveyed the town. No one knows. No one knows if the guy who surveyed the town was really named this, and then they named the mine after it, and then they named the town after it, so they don't know. It's very strange. This is, like I said, this is the gold country up here. It's the, the Majuba Mountains? Majuba Mountains.
That's Majuba.
Majuba. Yeah. It's got canyons and all this shit in there. What this town does have, what it's kind of known for, it's weird because it's the only thing this area is known for. Well, two things. We'll get to that and things to do. The Thunder Mountain Monument.
Oh.
Which is
like
not
the
a
ride at Disneyland?
I was going to say, it's not a monument to the ride at Disneyland, but it's called, the Wikipedia says it's a series of outsider art sculptures and architectural forms that were assembled by Frank Van Zandt starting in 1969 upon his arrival in Imlay. It's off the shoulder of the I-80, this is. So I did a little research here. He's a World War II veteran from Oklahoma. He served with the 7th Armored Division in World War II, fought a bunch of campaigns in Europe, and was badly burned in a tank battle. This guy. No. Ugh, that sounds awful. Jesus
And then he
Christ.
became an artist?
Well, later on. He's born on an Indian reservation in Okmulgee, Oklahoma in 1921. And he, due to his upbringing, he's not an Indian. He's not a native at all. I don't think. No, he's not at all. His dad's name is Sidney Grove Van Zandt, which no, but because he grew up on the reservation, though, he identifies himself as a Creek Indian.
Oh, no.
Because everybody...
Not one of those guys.
Yeah. But I guess then, too, that's not like he could, like, watch TV and, or anything else. It was just like, well, this is what's around me. You know, I guess that's whatever. But, yeah, so he's kind of self-identified.
You don't want to be that guy.
Chief Rachel Dolezal kind of a thing here going on.
Like the guy from Love After Lockup who just fucking found out he's like
be that guy.
1/27th Native American, and then he now only wears turquoise and braids his hair.
And he wears fringes and long braids and literally will answer questions with like age-old proverbs, and you're like, listen, motherfucker, listen. No, I don't want to hear that shit from you.
12 kids, sir.
I don't want to hear that from you.
Can you just focus on raising your children?
Jesus Christ. So he became, after a while, he ended up ditching his name of Van Zandt and taking the Native American name Rolling Mountain Thunder.
Well.
After he experienced an epiphany, which sounds this is in the late 60s, so it sounds like he took acid, and then he said, my name is now, Rolling Mountain Thunder. Bow before me. So... I don't know what
he picked that because Mountain Dew was already a drink.
I'm Rolling Mountain Dew. What's that you say, Bobby? Shit. Rolling Mountain Thunder. Bow before me. So he took
Van Zandt's such a cool name. Why would you want to change it?
I don't know. He ended up, he had two things he wanted to get done here after his epiphany. Well, three. Change his name, number one. And then he needed a couple of tasks. One was building shelters for the presumed coming apocalypse. Because that was part of his epiphany also. There's an apocalypse coming.
There's always one of those.
Obviously. And also he wanted to make this coming apocalypse place, refuge, a spiritual haven for seekers in the hippie era as well. So,
and this isn't the guy this story's about. This is just a dickhead.
This is just a guy from the town, Jimmy. He built out of desert flotsam and concrete, as it's put here. The monument is an astonishing work of art, as powerful and intriguing and as visionary as the Watts Towers. This one review of it says. The site covers.
I need to see it.
Dude, the site covers. I have pictures. I'll show you here. The site covers 5 acres on the south side of a 1,000-foot stretch of Interstate 80. There was originally 7 buildings, including a 3-story hostel where many hippies lived in the 70s.
My God,
when they came through, 3 stone and concrete buildings remain, and more than 200 concrete sculptures depicting Native Americans and their protective spirits, massacres, and injustices against them. That's what remains here. It's got it's weird though that he put up other things like found objects, like car hoods are everywhere. Doll heads used to be all over the place. Doll heads would be dangling from all the trees like ornaments, which is
what the fuck?
Just creepy and very strange. The 3rd floor had one wall made of antique bottles, which formed a stained glass window, basically. Yeah. So that's kind of neat though.
Concreted that shit in.
Yeah, other ones had floors had windows from antique windshields and bottles incorporated to provide lighting, so when the sun hit it, it would light the whole room. All sorts of shit here. One framework forms a large handle so the Great Spirit could take the building away after he dies. So it's almost like his
it's like an art
tomb.
Lunch pail.
It's like his tomb, except bury me deep in the sarcophagus, but put a handle on it so the gods can take me away when they're done here. So I mean, I don't know. All of this is fine if that's your native belief of all your people, but you have to remember this guy's name is Van Zandt, and he decided this all on his own. So. The site was partially destroyed by arson in 1983, which was the same year that he was honored as 1983 Artist of the Year by the state of Nevada.
Oh.
So he was Artist of the Year.
Not the Grammys.
And someone burned his shit down in the same year. It's almost like it drew attention to him, and they were like, who's that Artist of the Year? Oh, fuck him. I'm going to burn his shit to the ground. How dare he? So it was also kind of falling apart. Thunder Mountain, its hostel house had burned down. The chief's he married a young wife, basically, at one point, and now she left him and took the last of his 3 children with her.
No.
So took all his kids, left him. They burned his shit down. So he's all depressed. He's also depressed that the apocalypse didn't happen. This is the 80s. It's like, I've been saying there's an apocalypse for the last 15 years and it hasn't happened. So then he's getting all bummed out about that. So in 1989, he blew his brains out. I couldn't take it anymore. So
he's got to be married. He's got to be related to Ronnie, right? From Lynyrd Skynyrd.
I know. I mean, there's a lot of Van Sants. I don't know if he's related to. He could be related to the guy in Bruce Springsteen's band who plays Silvio in The Sopranos too. I mean, who the hell knows? There's a lot of. That's a very common name.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it's a Dutch name. Very common. If I'm not mistaken. So the monument ended up becoming a historic site, Nevada State Historic Site in 1992. And now they kind of have tours and shit there and all this type of thing. So then I found this is a description of the town. This is from NevadaWeb.com because it's a very small town. There's no reviews. So I had to find like a this is Imlay. It's an article called Imlay and Mill City History. Imlay was a railroad town established in 1869 on the Central Pacific. It's now a wind-blown confusion of tattered roof shingles and swooning porches in a small crosshatch of dirt streets.
Oh, my God.
That's the town. It says diesel locomotives rush through, their air horns blaring to remind old Imlay of the long-ago days when the railroad was king, and dozens of little settlements like Imlay were built to serve it. Now the interstate is king, and Imlay is all but invisible, except for the monument to Native Americans on the other side of the freeway. So that's all they have is Thunder Mountain.
This is like the town that Cars was written about.
Kind of, yeah. Like, there's got to be a fast one in there somewhere. Was that Muscle Car Ranch in Oklahoma? Maybe that's what they're talking about. So the mountains here, the Majuba Mountains are a mountain range here, and lots of gold there has come out of that place. So that's the thing. People here, 227 is the population.
Not 1,000.
Not a lot, just 227.
End of story.
And that's all, which is up 67% since 1990.
Wow.
So it shows you that hermit life is becoming more popular. Everyone, look out for the next HGTV show, Hermit Life. It's on right after
Imlay, Nevada.
It's on right after Tiny House Living. It'll be Tiny House Hunters and Tiny House Living, and then Hermit Life, and then Van Life after that, or whatever the fuck they do, where people live in an RV even though they're 24.
And borders and just all the awful ways human beings live.
All right, this is how people want to look at bad decisions people have made. Isn't this wonderful? Male and female here is pretty even. Median age is low, 32.7. So that's about 5 years younger than normal. Everyone is in the 25 to 34 or the 0 to 4-year-old range.
Okay.
There's nobody else here. It's pretty much just 20. Very few people of any other. There are 0 people over the age of 75 in this town. 0.
Can't hack it.
Yeah. Can't hack it. Well, it's probably, too, all the old nuclear testing that they used to do. Probably went up and settled into the mountains. I'm sure you perish young here. Who knows?
It'll take you.
They'll take you. They'll take you. Married population, a little bit higher. It's like 55%. But when it's so low a population, there's not enough.
Everything's fucked.
It's all messed up. It's all fucked out, Jimmy, as we've said. Divorce rate here, normally it's 10%. Here it is 37.2% of the people are divorced.
Wow.
So that's a lot in this area here. The single with no children, you want to go out and party in Imlay? 0.0%. Get down. So if you meet someone, nope. If you meet someone and go home with them, they will definitely go, "Shh, my kids are asleep" at some point during the interaction. You'll go, "Why is that? I'm sitting on Cheerios. Is that a thing?" There's a lot of Cheerios.
Stop saying dirty shit. My kids asleep.
There's a lot of Cheerios between your couch cushions. Race of this town, 100% white. So there you go. That's all it is. Zero down the line.
Is hilarious.
Zeroed out for the rest of it here. Religion, 24.3% of the people are religious. There's no God in the mines, Jimmy.
Yeah.
When you're that deep in the earth,
yeah,
God can't get down in that.
You can hear the devil
shafts.
whisper. Yeah, he's talking to you.
God is the canary, Jimmy, when you get down that deep.
Yeah.
So, Jesus Christ.
This place sucks.
This place is a shithole. Let's just say that. I don't want to move here. How about that?
No.
Let's make a pact. Neither of us are ever going to move to Imlay, Nevada. How's that sound?
I'm never going to be there ever.
I can't hack it. No, I'll drive right by and go, is that Rolling Thunder? Let's go. Keep going. Or Thunder Mountain. 24.3% of the people here are religious. It's spread around pretty good. There's, little of this, little of that. Yeah. A couple of Mormons here. And
sure.
Only thing there isn't 0.0% Jewish. They're like, I don't think so. We are not going there. 0.0% Muslim as well. Politically in this town, the whole county, by the way, because we kind of do this by county, the politics, the county only has about 6,000 people in the whole county. Okay. So it's not a real, and it's 6,000 people spread out throughout literally like mountain shacks. It's a weird place.
30 different towns.
Yeah, it's 30 little towns. It's a very strange. So I don't know if there would be any collective thought process is what I'm getting at. Everybody's separated. So whatever it is, it's random. It's 22% Democrat in the last election, 71% Republican, 7.5% Independent, which is less than I would think. A place like this, I would think it'd be like 68% Independent. I ain't voting for nobody that other people like.
Right. I moved here because fuck it all.
Yeah, because fuck all. There's a candidate whose slogan is fuck all, goddammit, and I think I'm going to vote for him. He's a guy from the mines. He just works right next to me. He said to write him in. It's this town
that votes for people like the guy that ran the cat house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, that guy. So unemployment rate here is a little bit higher than the rest of the country. Median household income, though, is also high because the jobs are dangerous and they pay well. So it's
right.
The median household income $76,164, which is
holy shit,
way higher than the 57,000 range. Most of the people here make 75,000 to 100,000 in that range. Cost of living here, 100 being regular or average. Here it is 74. So cost of living's low. Housing 36.5.
James,
it's low.
I take it back. This place fucking rules.
No, where do you see the houses? Median home cost $84,500, which is extremely excessively low. So if we've convinced you to grab yourself a pick and a pan and head on out to the Majuba Mountains, and after you check out Thunder Mountain, of course, we have for you the Imlay, Nevada Real Estate Report. Your average two-bedroom rental here, which I couldn't find existing anywhere, but in theory, it's $700 for your average two-bedroom rental. I found this house, Jimmy. I'm going to show you the picture of it. I got to turn the monitor towards you here.
Oh, boy.
Well, take a look at that bad boy.
This. What the fuck? Is that porch falling off?
I guess, but I think they're going to go with it. I think they're going to go with it and just hang out and put a chair out there.
I think it was built that way in the first place, too.
Well, there's a chain link fence around the porch, which is an odd touch. You don't see that very often. Basically, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 998 square feet. It's a murder house. It looks like several families were butchered in there on consecutive years. A new family moved in. They were butchered to death. They cleaned the bodies out, wiped up the chalk outlines, and moved another one in. It's in Lovelock, which is right down the road here from Imlay. I can only find one house in Imlay proper here, so this is an awful house, $59,900. So I found it's an awful place. I found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,440 square foot. This is the one in actual Imlay proper, the only one.
All right.
The real estate listing says, quote, truly a diamond in the rough. Oh, boy.
Built in use a mining term.
Well, yeah, I think that's what you're there for. Built in 1910, so by miners probably, this recently renovated and remodeled 2-story home has old-school architecture mixed with modern style and appeal and comforts. It's not that nice, by the way.
Okay.
$245,000 for that.
For a house built in 1910.
That's only 1,400 square feet. In the middle of the desert.
That's
or
crazy.
Mountains. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,368 square foot. Absolute. It's you're buying land. The house is a tiny little piece of shit. Actually, it's all fucked up. This house. It's not that 1,300 square feet's tiny, but the house is trashed. It's not great. 240 acres though. Farm and ranch with 52 acres of underground water rights. $350,000.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Water rights are a thing. Colorado and Nevada.
200 acres that are off in the woods, you can't get water to those. Yeah.
No, I think out of the 240 acres, 52 acres of it has water rights.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The other they're deep.
It's tough. They don't have water rights because they're too far away.
Exactly. Things to do here. Burning Man Festival is one of them.
That's here?
That's in this county. It's like half in this county and half in Humboldt County. It's right there. It is, I'll read their Wikipedia that they've described it. Burning Man is a festival focused on community art, self-expression, and self-reliance held annually in the western United States. The event derives its name from its culmination, the symbolic burning of a large wooden effigy referred to as the Man. That occurs at the penultimate night of Burning Man, which is Saturday evening before Labor Day. So, this is what it
Be dirty. Don't shower for 2 fucking weeks. That's disgusting.
I don't know anything about Burning Man except I remember on Reno 911 they were going to go out there and try to quote bust hippies.
And they all dressed like wackos.
And they dressed like I don't know, like they were basically like they shopped in a sex shop for their outfits and then went out with like tiny leather things and like weird shit on their heads. And I think
Burning Man is essentially that. It's just open-minded, do whatever you want. There's no judgment here except for the fact that you're all naked in dust and it's fucking gross.
I saw a picture of it, like a huge dust storm engulfing it while all the people were standing there. I was like, oh God, why would you want to go to the desert? I looked at this.
Goddamn year.
It started out being free and a few thousand people showed up. And then like 5 years later, it was like $10 donation requested, so you didn't have to. Now, in 2018, low-income ticket prices are $190. That's if you can, like, prove you don't have money. You can get one.
If you can prove a hardship, you can get in for $200?
Pre-sale tickets, $990.
Holy shit.
Pre-sale art tickets, $1,200. This vehicle passes, $80. To park in an expanse. They have one thing they have out there. It's fucking parking. It's an expanse of nothing. You're charging people to park there. You out of your goddamn mind? It's fucking nuts.
Mad Max with music.
It's crazy. And the next year it even got more expensive, 2019. But 78,850 people showed up in 2019. So it's a big deal. There was they had a big beef with the county because they said they needed this many security there, but then more people showed up and they didn't pay for the extra security, so the county's mad at them. It's weird. So God. And of course, Thunder Mountain Ranch, you can go there. Yep. That's a thing. Thunder Mountain Park, sorry. And then also, there's one thing it says, just drive up the I-80. That's something to do here. Road trip highlights, Buckaroo Arts and Culture. So, I mean,
boy.
Who doesn't want that? And then Western Folk Life Center. Oh, boy. Can't wait for that. Crime rate in this town. What we're interested in, Jimmy. This is a strange one. Property crime is low. It's about 25% under the national average. So, which makes sense. Everyone's spread out. Who are you stealing from? And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is high. It's about 50% over the national average in violent crime. So I feel like these people go out, they work in the mines, they get shit-faced, and then they beat the piss out of each other. That seems like what probably happens. I'm just judging off of whatever. I think that's what's going on here. So that said, Jimmy, this wonderful little dusty mountain town where 80,000 people come, let's talk about a murder, shall we? Let's do this, I think.
James, that's why I'm here.
Let's do it, Jimmy. Okay, now.
I'm putting up with this shit town for this.
You have to even know it exists for this.
Yeah.
Now, don't say that because people will be like, yeah, I put up with the town stuff too. Jimmy hates it also. That's what people will be saying. Like, no.
Most towns are not this.
That's the fun part.
Sucks.
We wish the whole show could just be the town. That's the thing you guys nobody understands is if it was up to us, if we could have the same amount of listeners, that's what the show would be. We do like the town and do like a show with like 3 towns and we laugh our asses off and go home. That'd be fantastic. But instead, someone's got to die for your bloodlust. Fine, everybody. Let's talk about a murder. So, hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
This place we're going to talk about here, this actual home, is northwest of Imlay. It's in the Majuba Mountains mining area here. Mm-hmm. So everyone involved that's anywhere around here is a miner. There's nobody does anything else unless it's the one guy who runs the general store or whatever. Everybody else is a miner. It's the only reason to be here. Mm-hmm. You don't go here just to get away from it all. It's mining and mining only. So we're going to go back in time a little bit here. Let's go back. Let's go back to 1980. Okay. Let's do it. Let's grow our mullets out and our mustaches in, and we'll do this. Shave that beard, Jimmy. It's mustache only in 1980.
I was just a little puddle.
Yeah. December 3rd, 1980. And we have to talk about a family here, the Strode family, Strode. The Strode family, first off, is Emery Dexter Strode. He is the patriarch. He's 71 years old in 1980. He's born in 1909.
Fuck.
Which is crazy. But still, in 1980, he was still spry, old Emery was. He was a miner. Oh. So he's an old school miner, which he's from Colorado originally. That's a rough life.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's an old miner. He's married to a woman named Mary Mabel Strode. Okay. Mary Mabel, that's sturdy. Oh, yeah. She's making pie, man. How many different kinds of pie does she make? A lot of them, right? Right?
Yeah.
She's
rhubarb is her jam.
You come from the mine, it's cooling on the windowsill, I feel like. There's definitely, with a cartoon dog running toward it.
She grows rhubarb and makes a pie out of that shit.
Mary Mabel, born in 1908, is a pie lady. Yeah. Now you could be Mary Mabel, you don't have to make pies. But if you're born in 1908, it's just known that you make pies.
Her cabinet's full of flour, sugar, shit that's down to
lard,
the first
Crisco.
ingredient.
Yeah, it's got it all in there. Also, all different preserves, all lined up for her pie making. I think she won the county pie-off, I believe.
I believe it.
I believe she won the Burning Man County pie-off one year. So she 72 years old, so she's a year older than Emery. She's a cougar, Jimmy. What do you want? And then they have a daughter as well named Miriam. Miriam Laura is her name. And she became Miriam Laura Treadwell when she was married in 1969 to a guy named William Treadwell. So she's married, Miriam, and they also have a son named Frank as well, Frank Strode. Miriam, I'm sorry, is 41 years old in 1980, by the way. And Frank is her younger brother. So the family had a gold and silver mining property. That's where they lived. They had this little house. It's a small house, and it's on a big area where they own some of the property so they can go mining. That's what they do. It's a mining family. This is a different way to live. We have not talked a whole lot about some rural miners out there in the middle of nowhere. That's a different one.
Yeah, because it feels like there's 12 people to do it. I'm sure there's a lot.
Well, in this around here, there's only 271. It's just not a lot of. It's a different kind of lifestyle now to live out there. You have none of the conveniences of modern day, and you really have to have either not like people or have burned your bridges that badly other places. This is like going to Alaska. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're there for a reason. You came. You didn't just stumble across this place. It's hard to find.
You were either enlisted in the Air Force and you landed in fucking Alaska, or you are running from something.
Yes, that's what it is. And that's what Nevada was back in the day as well. You know what I mean? It really was. People went there. They'd go to Vegas in the early days of it just because they heard it was sleazy, so they thought they'd fit right in.
That sounds like my place.
It was, They're like, you could do anything there. It's great. So, so they all are living their lives. We'll talk about Miriam because Miriam's got some struggles. She's nearly blind, Miriam.
Oh, my God.
The 41-year-old daughter. We'll talk about exact things that she has problem-wise, but she also has trouble walking as well. So
shit,
she's hurting. She's got some problems, some physical problems, health problems. Now, on December 3rd, 1980, Frank and Linda, who is Frank's wife, Frank and Linda and the parents live in the house. I don't think Miriam lives there. Okay. So anyway, Frank and Linda come home. They went away for Thanksgiving. I don't know where they went. Maybe
had enough of you fucking people. I'm not going to spend a day with you.
No, maybe her
day off.
Maybe her family's
okay.
I don't know where her family lives. I'm sure they don't live in the fucking mountains. So, and I don't know when they came here because they're from Colorado originally. They were all born in Colorado, and then
where at?
I don't know exactly. With different places too. Frank was born here. Miriam over here. The wife Mary Mabel over here. So Frank returns with his wife from a Thanksgiving trip on December 3rd. So it's a long trip. And they get all the way out there, all the way out in the mountains, winding, back dirt roads and all that sort of shit. And they get there, and I guess Miriam had just moved into there recently. He enters the trailer. By the way, it's a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
In case you were,
I expected it.
And what he sees is a blanket in a bedroom. He's calling, nobody's there. He can't find anybody. So he goes into a bedroom looking for people, and he finds all three. He finds Emery, Mary, and Miriam all under a blanket in the bedroom, all of them bleeding all over the place.
Wow.
They appear to have puncture wounds, bullet holes. There's blood all over the place, and Emery has a butcher knife sticking out of his chest.
Okay.
So, accident. Clearly a large accident. Everyone in the house, he cut his finger, and then someone tried to help him, and he tripped, and he stabbed himself, and then someone was so distraught they shot themselves. You know how it works.
Yeah.
You know how these things happen out in the mining country.
Oh, my God.
So, this is a terrible scene for this guy to walk into.
All three of them are just every way possible that you can be murdered. They're murdered that way.
They're murdered, piled up together under a blanket in the bedroom. Yeah. And like we said, butcher knife still and that's not his only wound, the butcher knife sticking out. He has what would appear to be gunshot wounds in him as well, and stab wounds, and a butcher knife sticking out of his chest here. So it looks like he's been stabbed twice, and then the second time it was left in. Now, they discover that Emery's got a pocket watch in his shirt pocket that has been struck by a bullet.
Oh.
And broken. And
almost saved him.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would have been a great story.
Yeah.
If it's my lucky pocket watch that my granddaddy gave me.
71-year-old man born in 1909 laying on the floor.
Pocket watch. Thank you, granddaddy, for giving this to me.
Grandfather survived the war with 7 years with this up his ass.
With this up his ass, and then it saved my life being deflecting a bullet. So the hour hand on the watch was stopped at 1 o'clock. So that's an interesting. It's like a timestamp of when it went down. And Mary, the woman, the 72-year-old, his wife, had been stabbed in the back and shot in the chest.
Fuck, man.
72-year-old woman here.
Elderly people.
Elderly. Now, Miriam, who we've said has some problems, and when I tell you exactly what they are, it'll be even worse to hear this. Her wrists were bound with an electrical cord, and she died from a single gunshot wound to the back. That's what they found. Emery and Miriam both kept diaries. The father and the daughter both had diaries. The last entry on both diaries was recorded on the morning of December 2nd, 1980, which is the day before this. Right. So sometime between the morning of December 2nd when they made journal entries to the December 3rd when Frank and his wife come in and holy shit, they're under a blanket. Something very
feels
bad
like
happened.
It was like at 1 p.m. on December 2nd that this happened.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it seems like it would be. So you can look at these clues and go, well, I mean, shit, that's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, at least they're not cool that everybody's dead, but you can, if you're looking for clues and you go, I don't know when the fuck this happened. It's a trailer, and I mean, the elements are different out here in the middle of the mountains. It's cold in the winter.
Timestamp still sometimes.
But there's a goddamn timestamp and a journal entry. Like, this is a modern day. It's like a screenshot. This is the 1980 equivalent of a screenshot. A broken pocket watch with a bullet hole in it and a goddamn diary entry dated the morning of that. Yeah, it's amazing. So the police are obviously called and they search the whole area. And they say they have few clues to indicate why somebody would do this. They have no enemies in the area. The daughter has no enemies. They're nice people that, everybody kind of gets along out in the mining mountains out here. They all know each other. Everybody kind of keeps their distance, but yet they help each other if they need to. Okay. It's kind of how you could survive out there, and the only way is if everybody was a little wacky like that. Yeah. I saw a documentary. There's a documentary on this area in Nevada that is just completely has no services, no nothing, and these people just live there anyway.
How do you... They grow their own shit?
Kind of, but it's near like an army site or an Air Force site that they can't, it's butted right up against it. So, it's super weird. They don't know what kind of testing is going on around them, and they just live there. And it's all people that are, at their, they're at the last kind of stages of something, or they all have these stories. None of them are like, well, you know what? I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and I went to college and I did this. And after a couple of years, I said, you know what? I really want to farm nothing in the desert. That's what I want to do.
Marketing isn't for me. So this is where I'm at. This is.
I always loved the desert. See.
Yeah.
So,
I watched a documentary about the Unabomber. He said, dump the whole stinking thing. And I was like, you know what? He's right.
He's right. I've heard this before from other people, but from him it makes sense. I don't know what it is. When I hear it from the Unabomber, he speaks to me. So this is what's going on.
I love people on Twitter are like, yeah, that guy had it all figured out. It's like, dude, you're on Twitter right now. You're doing exactly what he hated.
Look at his picture and then tell me that guy had it figured out. I'm not, you know what I mean? Dude.
For longevity of the human race and for society to go for a very long time, yeah, I could see where you could think he's got it figured out. The man never used any fossil fuels, so I can see it.
Fine,
but
great.
That's not a way you can live.
But that's the thing. You can take ideas. You can't take a big giant idea, take 4% of it that you like, and then say the rest of it is true. Right. The only thing that's been acceptable for, and it's only because it's for thousands of years, is religion. That's it. Nothing else you're allowed to do that with. So you can't take Ted Kaczynski's read his whole manifesto and go, well, I agree with that and that. Okay, well, great. Anybody could talk for 12 hours and you'd agree with a couple of things. Literally anybody.
If I talk for 12 hours and my two true facts are my name is Jimmie and we shouldn't use so much plastic, and you're just going to blindly agree with the rest of my shit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It's anybody you could hear forever. I've heard a lot of Charles Manson, what he said. Some of it was true.
Yeah.
And not the crazy shit. I mean, not the fucking race war shit and the hole in the Death Valley and all that shit. Yeah. Obviously, that was
a girl from Ohio. No, you're not. You're Charles Manson.
Yeah. Obviously, that was a little off. But, I mean, Hitler said some things, I'm sure, that were fucking right. You know, I'm sure there was something that you go, that makes sense. But then he's blah, 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 for fucking screaming in German for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you go, I don't like any of that stuff. But I do think that vegetable prices should be lower. Yes, that's true. But the rest of it,
a Volkswagen is a very, very affordable car. You're right.
Good,
Kill Jews. What?
What?
Are you doing?
Hey, hold on. Well, you said you liked Volkswagen, so guess what? You're on board. No. So anyway, I only mentioned that documentary because I feel like this is kind of this type of area. It's the same type of people that kind of, they don't want to be around. If you mention like a city, they're like, people in the city. Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, they don't know how to treat each other there. It's like shit like that.
True, but also not true.
Also, yeah, everywhere sucks. So that's why we do this show. So the other thing that's strange, that why they can't figure out why this happened, is because there are valuables left all over the place in here.
Really?
Jewelry. It's a trailer. It's not like you can't rip it apart. There's $8,000 in cash in a pretty accessible place right sitting on the dresser that nobody touched either.
In a $500 trailer.
Yeah, like there's no ransacking that went on. It's just a bunch of death. Like it looks like a fucking mob hit. You know what I mean? Wow. Like a make them suffer and then come home. Like, you know, don't steal anything or trash the place. Just kill. That's what it looks like. So the investigators believe the killings occurred sometime between noon and 2 p.m. Sometime right in the middle of that, probably around 1. I'm going to say, based on the pocket watch. So, now let's go back to the.
Why do they got to give such a big window? You're not fixing our cable. Just tell us when it was. We know.
We get it. So that's December 3rd. He finds the bodies. Obviously, they were killed on December 2nd. So let's go back to December 2nd. Okay. On December 2nd, there's a guy named Ray Horn, who is a mechanic. He's a mine. Like he works a mechanic in some says a mechanic for a mining outfit. Okay. I don't know what the hell that means. He fixes the machines,
dump trucks and shit.
Yeah, so he fixes the machines and does his thing like that. So his name's Ray Horn. He says he doesn't know when, but sometime between 12:30 and 2 p.m. Because before cell phones, if you didn't have a watch on, you just didn't know what time it was half the time.
Right.
This guy doesn't set his truck clock to the correct time.
No,
he doesn't know. So he says that he was driving on a country road near Majuba Mountain, and he passed a dark metallic blue truck, which he identified as, I'm sorry, he didn't know who it was. He just saw a dark metallic blue truck. He said a slender young man was driving the truck and started firing shots at Horn for no reason. Just saw him driving, and all of a sudden this guy he puts his hand out the window, starts bucking shots off at this mechanic guy.
And we're just now talking about this?
That was that.
After you heard about a murder?
Oh, no, he reported this later on. But I feel like, too, in the mountains, things happen. And they're just like, well, I don't know, I got to go pan some shit real quick, and then I'll get that back with the sheriff later.
I'll get back to the sheriff. And what color was that truck? Blue. All right, I'll just remember that. Bullets flying at me. Blue truck.
Yeah. He said he was on his way to Imlay to pick up a spare tire for a fellow miner. Uh-huh. That's good. That's good, helping people. Helping your fellow miner.
Took a bullet for it.
Well, actually, check this out. He saw the blue Ford pickup truck that he believed to be Emery Strode's pickup truck. Uh-huh. He's like, oh, there's Emery's. They all know each other in their trucks because they're always driving around. He thought it was Emery, but then he's like, who's that driving? And then he said the first shot shattered the window of his truck on the passenger side. And he was like, why the fuck's Emery shooting at me? Jesus Christ.
God damn, Emery.
And then he saw.
I said, hello, Emery. Jesus.
God damn, I was waving. I waved. Jesus Christ. I didn't give you the finger, for fuck's sake. So he said that at that point is when he saw the slender young man driving, and obviously Emery is a 72-year-old miner, a 71-year-old miner. Right. Slender young man's probably not the way you describe him, I doubt. Mm-hmm. Now, Horn said at first he thought it might have been a rock hitting his window, even after he felt something hit him in the face. He thought maybe it was a rock hit the window, until he saw a thin young man leaning out the window firing more shots at him. He said it was a small caliber pistol, and this guy's just hanging out the window shooting at him while he's driving, which is insane. So he said that at that point he said, quote, something hit me in the face, and so he put his hand in his beard and he retrieved a hot piece of metal. The bullet hit him, must have just not hit him in the face, but didn't penetrate. The window slowed it down enough, apparently.
Damn good beard.
That's a good window. The strength of that window and that beard together literally stopped a bullet.
Unbelievable.
So bulletproof vests should be made from his window and beard. I feel like if you stitch his beard together very closely, like a 4,000 count beard thread count, I feel like
that's where they get Kevlar from. It's from a guy named Kevin's beard.
It's from a miner's beard. I feel like that's what it's from. I feel like a mechanic for a miner is even more rugged than the miners.
That's a hard man.
Yeah, he's not even getting gold. He's just
he doesn't have wrenches and sockets. He just uses his hands.
Yeah, they're just all calloused.
That's sat now.
Yep. So he said he threw the metal down because it was hot, and then he said it hit his arm and fell out of his truck at that point. So that's how that ended up working. And then he said after that, he took off because he realized he was being shot at. And he said he was chased by this blue truck at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour across down a dirt road north of Imlay.
Wow.
So there's two trucks. One's hanging out the window, firing at the other one with a big dust cloud behind him going 100 miles an hour in the desert.
100 miles an hour on a dirt road is so scary.
Oh, that's insane. If you move the wheel,
I've done 50.
And you're going to flip.
And I was losing my mind. This is crazy.
They were just breaking ass here. Up to 100. I mean, I'm sure if you went around a curve or whatever, but
drop it down a little bit.
With him bucking shots at him. So this is wild. So once they put that together, they say, oh, and it was Emery's truck shooting at you. So they figure whoever was shooting at you, good chance he's the guy that probably killed everybody.
James, he waited a day to tell that story.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
That event happens in my life. I'm talking about it for a week.
Well, I'm sure he talked about it at the mine, but unfortunately the sheriff wasn't around to hear it. I don't know. It's
unbelievable.
He couldn't post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
OMG, crazy stuff just happened. Pulled an actual bullet out of my beard with all this with a picture of a shattered passenger side window. That's what it would be now.
Hey, sorry to interrupt y'all day. I'm going live. I'm doing 112 down.
Doing 112 down a dirt road right now. Sorry about the noise. I do have the window open because I'm smoking now.
And a man's shooting at me in old Emery's truck.
Yeah, y'all know that Emery Strode. Oh man, now he's a nice man, but boy, that was a gunshot. That was a gunshot.
Whoever he loaned his truck to is a real asshole,
and not that good a shot either. But still, he's trying hard. So. Yeah, based on this police force, they've really stacked it up. Based on the stopped pocket watch at the exact time of the shooting,
right.
They deem that it's somewhere between 12 and 2.
Yeah.
And based on shots being fired at a man for no reason in the stolen truck of the dead man who was also shot to death, they're thinking maybe they're connected. So they're really hot. They're 2 for 2. The cops right now here.
They're firing all cylinders.
Yeah. And then once they hear all of this, they're like, that was probably the same guy who we heard also fired shots at a group of miners who were in the vicinity driving along as well. This was before the Ray Horn incident. Apparently he saw a bunch of guys in a truck and just started shooting at them as well.
He's just killing everybody.
He's trying to. The only damage that he's done outside of the house so far is the passenger side window and probably a tiny bald spot on old Ray's beard.
Right.
So they said, quote, "We think the incidents are related." Genius. That's from the sheriff. Thanks, Sheriff.
It's not likely we got 2 nutty-ass people running around this town.
The miners had been working at the Iron Mask Mining District, 9 miles west of Majuba Canyon. They weren't injured. The suspect was spotted again at 3:30 p.m. when he ran out of gas near Denio, which I'm just going to say Denio because you should be denied. It's Denio, which is just north of the Nevada-Oregon border. He was driving the 1980 dark blue Ford pickup truck with California license plates on it that belonged to Emery Strode. A couple stopped to help him. And later on, when they heard about all the shootings and the truck, what kind of truck it was, that's when they reported it to the police. They said that after he got gas, they helped him get gas, Then he headed northwest toward the Oregon-California border. That's what they said there. Now, authorities said that radio reports, because there was all sorts of radio reports out there, beware, and also, people turning their crackling radios up in their pickup trucks. They said that basically they named a suspect.
What?
They named a suspect on the radio, and they put out more reports to say it's false, that's not right. The radio named a suspect, but the suspect was just the former owner of the pickup truck.
Oh,
He's
God
the
damn
guy
it.
that sold it to Emory. So that's how they did that, and they ended up somehow getting it confused and putting that on the air as whatever. This guy's like 1,000 miles away. He has nothing to do with anything. But they said he was a murder suspect. So they said they've talked to several witnesses, and they said, we believe we have some witnesses before and after the killings in the general area. Makes sense. Between 3:30 and 4 p.m., Earl L. Smith, a highway maintenance worker, saw a man fitting that description standing on a road between Denio and Winnemucca and provided him a ride because he ran out of gas. Yeah. So this is this deal here. And then a couple...
do 110.
Well, you'll run right out of gas. He was later observed traveling at an extremely high rate of speed in the same blue truck, which was identified as Strode's. And they, so they're searching the area near the Nevada-Oregon border that day to try to find him. He's suspect described as being in his early 20s, medium-length hair, and considered extremely dangerous and armed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you see him, he'll shoot at you. So that'll do it. And they also said that they're looking for him. And one other thing, they said he was preoccupied with pyramids, possibly, and had a drawing of an inverted pyramid inside another pyramid on the leg of his pants. Okay. So that's what they said. That's what they're looking for now, that's very specific. Right. Although in 1980, people had shit drawn all over their jeans all the time. That was
good point. Yeah.
70s leftover. So anyway, back to the 3rd, back to our timeline here, back to December 3rd, the pickup truck is eventually found near Bellingham, Washington, abandoned there.
That's a long ride.
It's a long ride. Also, there's a murder that happens near there that we don't get into till a little later. So January 4th, 1981, a month later.
Wow.
A full month later, the calendar has flipped to the next year. There's a man in Florida here. This is the craziest fucking arrest I've ever heard in my life. This is like a crime and sports athlete that did 2 8-balls of coke and just went ballistic on the rest of this. This is what this sounds like. Okay. A man is arrested while standing on the rear bumper of a station wagon, gripping the luggage rack, screaming obscenities as an elderly couple drove down the street at a slow rate of speed. That's how he's arrested.
Welcome to Florida.
Standing on the rear bumper holding by the luggage rack. You motherfucking son of a bitches, you fucking pull over right now, you cocksuckers, I'll fucking kill all of you. Literally screaming shit like that. On the interstate, Jimmy. Well, on the interstate.
That's a Florida Uber, really. That's what that is.
That's what that.
You son of a bitch, I'm giving you one fucking star. This is bullshit. You didn't have a fucking water up here on the roof for me, up on the luggage rack. You're supposed to have fucking water. How am I supposed to charge my phone? I just got off the goddamn plane, and it says fucking 10% battery. Now I can't check my fucking Instagram, you motherfuckers.
Sir,
this isn't a party ride. This isn't fun. Why are there so many people in the car? Don't keep picking people up when your car's full, sir.
They pull him over. They're like, "Sir, you're not allowed to have people riding on your bumper." No, you don't understand. So
it's a pandemic. I got 6 kids to feed.
I love the way the newspaper put it. This is the officer's name is Glass. He's a highway patrol trooper. Yeah. He says that, quote, he found this man perched on the rear bumper and clinging to the luggage rack of a yellow station wagon as it drove slowly down the interstate.
I want to know what slowly is to them.
It's an old couple in Florida, probably 8 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was going to say 25.
So when they asked the man his name, as that would obviously be a curiosity, he replied to the cop, do you make a name up, maybe something like that? He says, and I quote, "God knew me and my parents knew me. That's it. That's what he said.
No,
they were
like, yeah, what's your name?
But I need your name. And he said, I told you that. That's all I'm saying. So if you need to know, ask either God or my parents, one of the two.
Yeah.
Whoever you can get a hold of first. I'm not sure. One of those two.
Three? One of those people.
My mom never answers her phone. She screens with the answering machine, so probably try God, I would think, first. But maybe leave her a message. She might get back to you. I'm not sure. So he's arrested. The man's arrested for hitchhiking, by the way. That's creative. That's a creative. I don't know. What else do you call that?
I don't know what to call
that. What the fuck do you call that? Because all the penalties, like all the tickets you would give, would be to the driver for someone doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no penalty. They didn't even make a law thinking someone would try to do that on the highway. Like ride it like it's a shopping cart and you're 9 years old, stand on it, holding on.
This isn't illegal. What can we classify it as? I mean,
well, yeah.
Can we give him a seatbelt violation? No, that's to the driver too. What about?
Fuck. I mean, a helmet. He probably should have a helmet on doing that, right? Is there a helmet law for dangling off the back of a station?
I guess hitchhiking.
And it's on the I-10 too. It's on the 10. It's like 7 lanes on each side.
Right.
The car's driven by an elderly couple. He was hitchhiking on the side of the road, and they slowed down. I guess he got out into the lane trying to make them stop. So they slowed way down and tried to avoid hitting him.
Right.
Because, they're an elderly couple driving
They weren't
a yellow
stopping for him. They were going to keep going.
Yeah, they were
just jump on.
Well, what he did is he leaped onto the vehicle's roof.
Wow.
He jumped onto the hood and then crawled up onto the roof of the luggage rack and ended up scurrying his way back to standing on the bumper while holding on the luggage rack. The entire time screaming obscenities and threats, by the way. He jumped on the hood going, "You motherfucker, you cocksucking son of a bitches," and then he crawled his way around. "You fucking son of making me fucking crawl all the way to the back of the goddamn fucking bumper. Jesus Christ."
It's like Mel Gibson in a Lethal Weapon movie.
It's what it is. He's chasing Gary Busey over here. What the fuck is happening? And imagine them in the car boom, he's climbing up. "Martha, do you know him? Were we supposed to pick somebody?" What the shit is happening?
He's just calling us anti-Semitic shit.
That's what I mean. So that he was still clinging to the car. The cop caught him in the act of, hanging on the back. All they wanted to do was give him a ticket for hitchhiking. They weren't even going to put cuffs on the man.
Right.
Okay? Ticket for hitchhiking, but he wouldn't give his name and refused to sign the ticket. He wouldn't do it. He said, "Nope, I'm not telling you my name." So they said, "Okay, well then you're under arrest, you stupid idiot." So they arrest him. They get to the police station. He gives them 3 different social security numbers.
Oh, no.
So, I don't even know what the fuck you do with that. Who is this asshole? You know what I mean?
Give us your name, sir. That's all we want. You can go the fuck. We don't want you here.
Yeah, you are out of your mind. Do you think we want to deal with
us?
you?
We feel the same.
We hope you're not from here. We have enough of you in Florida, really. I know you're someone's cousin here, but still, you have to go back where you're from.
Are you on that crocodile?
Oh, Jesus. He said that the cop said, quote, "I knew I had something other than just a hitchhiker." You had a real sixth sense for it. Calm down. So he gives three different social security numbers and 3 different names. Okay, so they just run all the names. Let's just see what we come up with on all of them. On one of them, the National Crime Information Center computer, the NCIC check that they run, it appears a triple murder warrant from Nevada for the murder of the Strodes. So they arrest him for that, and they're going to see what the hell is going on. Now, they arrest him. Like I said, he's charged with soliciting a ride on the interstate and refusing to sign a citation. That's what they charge him with. Soliciting a ride. That's a little more than soliciting a ride, I would say. That's pretty crazy. You need a new law for that. You're not allowed to forcibly jump onto people's cars and ride them. I feel like that's
hijacking. That's what that is.
That. You know what? That's like a pirate thing. It's not even hijacking. It's like pillaging.
No freeway piracy.
That's piracy. So now he's being held here. He gave his name as 3 different names. He gave his name as Mark James or Joseph. By the way, it shows up differently in different court documents of the same case. Literally the same document. He'll have it 2 different ways. So Mark James or Joseph Rogers. Then also Mark Joseph Hayduk, Heyduk. Hayduck is another one. Then he gives the name of, quote, T.P. Fox.
Yeah.
Not T.P. T.E.E.P.E.E. T.P. Fox is his other name that he gives.
Yeah, because he's native.
So they don't know who, and he has Social Security numbers for everybody, too. Like, it's crazy. None of them match the names, of course. They're random number jumbles, but...
Right.
So they said, come on, tell us who you are. And he said, listen, I told you about God and my parents. God knows me, and we're all part of Mother Nature.
Oh, boy.
I'll say that much, and that's it. So, and yeah, it's like, well, I guess we just believe anything he says because I agree with two of the things. Is that how it works? I agree with that. That's fine. So I guess whatever he says is law, right? Yeah, he's fine. Everyone's allowed to ride on people's cars from now on. So during fingerprinting, he cracks a little bit. He refuses to speak, but he motions for a pen, piece of paper. You gotta write something down. He writes down on a piece of paper that he belongs to the government.
Okay.
And that's it. And he gives a nod, and he's like, mm-hmm. And then he won't say anything else.
Yeah.
That's it. I belong to the government. So they're like, okay, once they get his fingerprints, they realize this is how they found, the man they were looking for, regardless of his name. His fingerprints were lifted from various items in the Strode residence, including a Diet 7-Up can, gross, a glass jar found in the bedroom under the blanket with the victims' bodies as well. Also a plate on the kitchen table, a glass with coffee in it, a sugar container, and a non-dairy powdered cream container.
Jesus, he's the thirstiest man alive.
It's all he's just drinking, pounding. He's got 3 different drinks. He's got a plate. God knows what he ate there. Well, we find out. I think he ate a plate of beans, they found out. So he came to this house, ate a plate of beans, had a cup of coffee. We find out he brought the 7-Up with him. So he didn't raid their soda stash.
Diet 7-Up, that's just soda water in it.
It's just disgusting is what it is. No caffeine, no sugar, carbonated shit. So, hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
They said diet. I was like, did they have Diet 7-Up back then? I guess they did, though. I guess they did. So I guess they said they got him as a suspect because of the fingerprint evidence and also the eyewitness identification. The district attorney in Nevada said the murders were pretty brutal. The suspect also stole the victim's car. There was no motive we know of. We've put it down to being the work of a psychopath. In technical terms. Thanks, district attorney guy. That's just setting up, well, he's an irredeemable psychopath. That you just put that in the water before a trial? You know, like I don't think that's correct.
Right.
So anyway, they said that he was the focus of a manhunt that ranged into Canada, but they said he had no idea that he went to Florida at all. A John Doe warrant listing several aliases was filed based on his fingerprints. So they were looking in the Northwest for him still. They said, this is the DA said, quote, "We were hot on his trail, and the truck turned up in Bellingham, Washington, and they said that he may have crossed the border as well." So it's like fucking crazy. Then once they get him in a jail cell in Florida and they tell him that he's charged with murder, he blurts out that he did kill everybody, but in self-defense.
Okay.
It was all very self-defense, obviously.
Yeah.
The whole family attacked him.
70-year-old couple and their daughter who has can't see.
Disabled daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually offer. That's what they do. They lure in a stranger, offer him beans and coffee,
right,
and then try to kill him. That's how you do it. Like whenever that's what you you catch more flies with beans and coffee than you do with vinegar. That's
catch more flies with Diet 7-Up. I've heard.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why. They must like the bubbles because there's nothing else in it.
Should come on over, James, for beans and coffee.
Dude, I can't. When we're done here, can we go to your kitchen and get some beans and coffee? That's all I want. I'm not leaving.
I'm going to start inviting people over. I'm going to
sleep at your house.
Like
You should.
How you been, Jimmy? I'm doing all right.
Should come by for some beans and coffee sometimes.
Why don't you come over and have some beans and coffee with me?
Even better, I offer to go out with them for beans and coffee. I'll go out get some beans and coffee or something. What? Yeah, it's like a plate of beans and a cup of coffee. Like.
If you are single, get on Tinder, fire that shit up, and send that as a message. Hey, girl, want to go out for beans and coffee sometime?
Beans and coffee. If she says yes, she must really have like a backlog in her stomach or something because she really wants to fire out. Beans and coffee would be the worst thing to eat on a date. An hour later, you'd both be sitting there just holding your stomachs going, no, I'm good. I'm going to take a walk around the block real quick. I'll be right back.
That's the way to see if your date will fart on the first date.
Yeah. Some beans and coffee. I mean, it's a terrible date.
Beans and coffee.
They knew to look for a very dangerous, vicious man who's definitely gassy. That's what they need to do. Check all the truck stop bathrooms. He's probably been there. So
that truck made it from Nevada to Washington on his ass. It ran out of gas before he got out of Nevada. He made it all the way to Washington.
Yeah, all the way there. So Ray Horn, the Kevlar beard guy,
he
Kevlar beard identifies him as the same guy who was shooting at him. So they have that to put together there. Now, Mark James Rogers, Mark Joseph Rogers, Mark James Hayduck, T.P. Fox.
T.P. Fox.
Who the fuck is this man? Let's find out who he is.
Bad.
Jesus Christ. Well, he is a part-time actor who lived in Hollywood shortly before he passed through this area.
What?
He's 23 years old, and he was in Hollywood trying to be an actor, and apparently lost his fucking mind and decided to go through the desert for no reason and end up doing this. He had no...
Wow.
His story is whacked. So like we said, he identifies himself as Mark James Rogers later on. The check revealed that the NCIC thing revealed that he was Hayduck. It was Mark James Hayduck. And the district attorney said, Hayduck is the name we know him by. That's the name on his birth certificate. We know he has family in California.
Yeah.
But that's not really the name on his birth certificate, because I did some research here, because it must be the name on his identification, but not on his birth certificate, because we find out that his brother is Edward Hayduck Jr., and his mother's name is Susan Erdman, and Kenneth Hayduck is his brother, and Edward Hayduck Sr. is his adoptive father.
Oh.
So apparently he's got... I think his mother is his mother. His father, this is his stepfather, I guess, that
who
adopted him.
Got it.
But I don't know who Rogers is. That must be his father's name, because that's not his mother's name. His mother's name is
perhaps he
Erdman,
just picked
Hayduck.
it because the world will never go see a Hayduck movie.
Maybe, but I think that was actually, Rogers is actually his name.
Oh.
I think that's his actual original name. And then he took Hayduck, and then he was using both, and then he just T.P. Fox he pulled out of his ass because he's crazy. So this was all...
T.P. Fox is a good stage name. That's not bad.
No, it's a good one. I think that's what he was going for. He's like, I'm going to get work as a Native American. That's how it is, even though I'm I'm
Diablo
a slender
Cody.
white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That rivals it. That's good.
She comes in, they're like, oh, we expected something different. Expected someone completely different.
You are much prettier than what I assumed was going to happen right now.
So, yeah, I thought it was going to be a large man. With flames tattooed on his head. We thought Bam Bam Bigelow was coming in here.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
We figured he was coming in to say hello to everybody. So
I thought it was awfully strange that Bam Bam Bigelow wrote a story about a 16-year-old girl that was pregnant, starring Michael Cera.
Very strange. We thought, but you know what? This is what people do. They're diversifying what they're doing. Sometimes you do this, sometimes you do that.
Hilarious.
So they do a little research on the guy here. They had no idea. They said that he traveled to Florida, and he took the exact path that Ted Bundy took to Florida.
Really?
Like, they don't know if it's on purpose or what, but it was like he did the exact route that Ted Bundy took to Florida, which is weird. Like, strange thing. He is divorced. He's 23. He's been married before. He lived in Ohio for a while. That was where he was recently. Now, his mother lives in Bakersfield, California, so I don't know if he took off, went to Ohio on his own or whatever. He was married to a woman named Yvonne Sampson. They got divorced, apparently. Now, apparently he was an informant at one point for the police there, we find out.
In 23 years, he has done a lot.
Yeah, and this isn't from him talking shit. This is Ralph Nicholas Forte, who's a police officer from Ohio. He says that in 1976, that Mark Rogers, we're just going to call him Rogers here, because that's his main name. That's what it is in the court documents, Rogers. So he says that Rogers was indicted for selling hash at one point. He was had a pretty decent-sized hash operation, and following the indictment, they made him an offer to become an informant for a reduced sentence, and he took it. So he takes that. He agrees to snitch, and the officer said that he worked closely with Rogers for about 7 months and became close to both Rogers and his wife throughout that period. Now, this officer says that he did have some problems with Rogers during the time and after the time that he was working with him as an informant, specifically that Rogers was giving drugs to this officer's wife, which is a problem.
Bastard.
What? I mean, come on, man. So Jesus Christ, man. So at one point, he's arrested and found in possession of weapons and burglary tools as well. And he ends up, I guess Rogers threatened the officer who arrested him as well, that, he's going to have him killed and all this shit here. So apparently that he had threatened Forte as well, but he did say that Rogers, it was pretty common for informants to threaten you. He said, you're working with criminals, so they're threatening you like criminals do. And he said that was normal, but he was a good informant. He said he was, besides threatening my life and giving my wife drugs, I got to say the guy did a bang-up job. It's pretty good.
Hilarious.
Did a fucking good job, this guy. I can't lie. He said that Rogers never acted on the threats, so, he's a good guy. He apparently had pleaded guilty to felony aggravated assault in 1976 and then another felony aggravated assault charge in 1977. He's had some issues. This is Rogers here. In the 1976 aggravated assault, he received a sentence of 1 to 5 years in prison, but the sentence was suspended and he was given 1 year of probation. That was probably because of his informer work.
Right.
That was. The incident happened at a party where he and another man had been drinking and got in a fight. Mark suffered a broken nose. Rogers gets a broken nose, and he cuts a man with a beer bottle. Okay, with a broken beer bottle.
That's like for like.
That's how shit rolls. Yeah, that's a party. He says that, quote, he was only trying to protect himself and that he did not want to get in a fight. He also said that the victim that he had to stab was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. He's like, so you know how that works. I mean, drunk people, you got to hit them with a broken beer bottle, obviously. That's normal. So the other charge in 1977, he pled guilty but failed to appear for a pre-sentencing hearing. So there was that. The second incident, as the report said, here he got in trouble and he stabbed another gentleman who was trying to attack him, he said. So 2 stabbings in 2 years is one with a broken beer bottle.
I mean, he's got his – you can tell what he likes to do.
Yeah. Well, he said this stabbing was because the people found out he was a snitch and they were threatening him.
Oh.
So he had to defend himself with stabbing. So he stabbed a guy twice and almost killed him. So he was...
he's got an M.O., though.
Yeah, he was lucky to not get attempted murder, only aggravated assault with a weapon. So what do you do when you're low, Jimmy? You've done all this shit. You're super low. You're in Ohio. You're white. Your marriage isn't working out. Yeah, you're getting arrested for stabbing people because you're an informant because you got busted for selling hash, and then you're giving it to a cop's wife and all of this shit.
I mean, you write a book about this shit, first of all.
You move to Hollywood to fulfill your dream of being an actor is what you do, Jimmy. Yeah. What else would you do? What?
It's pretty incredible.
So he does that. He moves to Hollywood to fulfill his dream. And what he does here is he takes some acting classes, so he's got some training. He moves in with a guy who had just retired, and he just retired after doing the only thing I could find that he did on IMDb. So this is a strange thing. But he was an assistant director for a television show. His name is George Douglas Morrison Jr. The George he doesn't use. He goes by Douglas Morrison Jr., which is hard to find info on because you know what Jim Morrison's middle name is?
No.
It's Douglas. So when you look him up, all you get is Jim Morrison. So it's very hard, and you have to go to Google page 14 to fucking get to this guy. So George Douglas Morrison Jr. here. He was assistant director, second unit director, and assistant director for a television show called Family. It ran from 1978 to 1980. It had, like, I saw on the list of all the guest stars, it had, like, every, like, 80s and 90s actor in it, like, when they were young. Helen Hunt was on it, and awesome. Dana Plato, the Different Strokes girl who died there, all that, and, like, all these different, Meredith Baxter from Family Ties. Yeah, it was just Baxter at the time on the IMDb. That's what I said. So all of that shit, all these different people were in it, whatever. So he was a second assistant director and a second unit director on a bunch of episodes. So that's what he did.
That's what he moved in with.
Rogers moves in with this guy. He's an older guy.
Yeah. Wonder what he wants.
I was going to say, what do you think? This is an odd relationship. Normally, some jerk off, guy with a felony record who just came from the Midwest shows up in Hollywood to be a dream of an actor. Like, there aren't a shitload of, like, people who've worked in Hollywood that are like, oh, I have a spare room in case you need it. That's just not how it works. Listen to the Hotel Cecil bonus episode that we did, and we talk a lot about, like, that's not how it works.
No.
It just doesn't.
They don't care.
Even if you're a 21-year-old an attractive girl, they're like, oh, fuck yourself. Like this guy, they don't care at all about him. So he moves in with him. This guy ends up like paying for getting his teeth capped and shit. He pays like $1,800 for him to get his teeth capped so he would have a better chance of acting.
What in the world would you have to do in return for shit like this?
I can't imagine what you'd have to do for that. I feel like you just have to be a good friend.
Yeah.
You do crosswords on Sundays at least with them. You know, shoulder to cry on. That's all it is. Yeah, you know, you have
best friend stuff.
Yeah.
Go fishing with me.
That's what I mean. Fishing, just in case, you know, something's on your mind. I'm here for you, buddy. We'll talk about it. Just need someone to go with you to the DMV, keep you company. You know what I mean? Just that sort of thing.
Well, like a shoulder to grip and grind back into my fucking cock.
You know how that goes. We'll get into that. They talk to him and ask him the nature of the relationship. It's pretty interesting here now. So something else that he was getting into, he got himself hooked up with what he called a guru in Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
And after that, this guru convinced him that he was receiving messages from gods. So, different gods, not just like the main god, all sorts of gods.
Yeah.
And started him thinking about pyramids, gurus, and Mount Olympus. And he apparently had some really strange burgoo stew that he mixed up in his mind and came up with all sorts of weird, thought processes and weird, like whole worlds he figured out based on pyramids, gurus, Mount Olympus, and mixing it all together in some weird thing. And if you stack
Scientology,
if you stacked it just the right way, you have the perfect Jenga fucking tower, and it's perfect, and everything's fine.
So LA,
it's fucking nuts. So he was so upset at one point, but that he's been like totally led astray in the world because he didn't know about the Mount Olympus and the pyramids.
Lied to.
That he yanked all the caps off his teeth on his own.
What?
Which sounds painful. It doesn't sound like something you want to just grab a fucking flathead screwdriver and start working on. That sounds rough.
Jenna Jameson did that shit. She pulled her own fucking braces off to go dance in clubs because they were like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 25. And they're like, you look 16.
Yeah.
Because she was.
Yeah. They were like, we'll pay you extra.
So she yanked all that shit off her teeth, and then they were like, how old are you? She's like, 25. And they're like, you probably are.
Yeah,
Get on up there, honey. Who's my cherry pie is next.
That's right. You're after Candy. She's going to do the first half, then you come in. Second chorus is when you come in. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So, he was upset about that. Now, I guess this Morrison had the director guy had paid $1,800 for the dental work. Wow. So he was like, what are you doing? Later on, someone said, quote, Mark had only stumps where those teeth were.
Right.
So, yeah, because
when you get caps, they grind it all down.
Yeah, so that's a problem. Now he's just got these little weird stumps. So
gross.
He, I guess he left his home. He left, what's his name, Morrison's home, and he'd been living with them in Hollywood. He said he was going up to visit friends in San Bernardino, but he ended up instead in Wells, Nevada on December 1st.
Yeah.
That's where he was. He was hitchhiking at Winnemucca the next day, and he was picked up by a rancher named Robert Schott and driven to Imlay. And another guy, David Hartshorn, who was a mining engineer in Imlay, dropped him off in front of the Strode residence. That's how this happened. So we found his path. This Robert Schott, he says that on December 1st, 1980, he's the first guy who gave him a ride. He said this is the day before the killings, he gave Rogers a ride, and he said as soon as Rogers climbed into his truck, Rogers looked nervously into the back of the truck and in the rearview mirror constantly, like real sketchy. And he said that Rogers' conversation was very erratic and that Rogers made him uneasy, didn't like having him in the truck. He said that Rogers introduced himself as John and said that he was a musician going to Reno to look for a job. That was his story. I'm John, I'm a musician. He said at one point, out of nowhere, he just burst out, quote, "You may not believe it, but I'm a good American. I'm on your side. I would fight for my country."
Okay.
Literally, they were just driving down the road, and he was like, huh? What now? Literally, the guy was like, "What was that?" Like
I said, "Did you want to pull over for coffee and beans, sir?
Yeah,
what are you shouting at me for?"
We're going on a coffee and bean date. I thought that's what this was. So that's what he says, and he's like, "Okay, like that's some weird shit to say." It's not like he's fucking. They were driving, and the driver turned to him and went, "You're fucking communist, aren't you?" And he was like, "No." So on December 2nd, between 12:15 and 12:45 p.m. on December 2nd, so this is, somewhere 45 to 15 minutes before the murder occurred, David Hartshorn, who's a geologist, we said, and what would I say he was, whatever, some kind of engineer, he saw Rogers standing alongside the road and offered him a ride. And he said that Rogers introduced himself to him as TP. And said, "Hi," this is what he said to him. "Hello, I'm TP. I live in a pyramid."
Yeah. Like a TV?
Yeah. No, I'm TP. That's what I mean. He has like a triangle obsession.
Yeah,
I'm TP, and I live in a pyramid. And he might have said, "Do you mean the other way around?" You're a pyramid and you live in a teepee, because that I get. I've seen it.
That sounds a little more believable.
We ain't got a whole lot of pyramids around these parts. See, it's just outside of Egypt, you don't see a whole lot of pyramids in Western United States. It just didn't.
And also, you're going to have to wait about 20 more years for that one to be built down there in that Vegas.
It's going to be beautiful, though. Is that where you live? You live at the Luxor? So
he loves triangles, and he went to a state with, I think it's the only state with a triangular border.
Got a little weird triangle there down by Vegas, with
That's
Arizona.
Wild.
So he said Rogers asked him, "Did you see the pyramid? Like when you picked me up?
No,
you saw it, didn't you?" And when he said no, the guy was like, "Well, no, I didn't see the pyramid." Rogers pointed to the north and said, quote, "It's up there." Okay.
Yeah.
TP.
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm TP. I live in a pyramid. Did you see it?"
Yeah.
"No, it's over there."
So wherever we're going, we're almost there, right?
Okay. He said that this guy, Hartshorn, this is funny. He told Rogers, "No, that's Majuba." What are you arguing with this guy for? This is beyond arguing. You don't argue the point of geography with this fucking guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this guy, you just go, yep, there it is. Sure, I'll take you right there. Up here we are. We're at the pyramid. Bye. And then you shove him out the door and you peel away and you go 100
like
miles
a toddler.
an hour.
When a toddler says wild shit, you just go, "Is that right?
For real? Wow. Huh? I didn't know that." That's what you say all the time. I didn't know that. Wow. So when he said that's Majuba, he said Rogers got very mad at him and clenched his fists and said, "No, that's Mount Olympus."
Okay.
So this is why you don't argue geography with fucking lunatics you pick up on the side of the road who claim to be named TP and live in fucking pyramids. You just let that shit go.
If you're willing to pick people up on the side of the road, you should be willing to give up a lot of facts to just whatever the fuck they say. Yeah, sounds right.
Great.
Sure.
So at this point, Rogers turns to him after the Mount Olympus thing. There was a silence for a minute because this Hartshorn was probably like, he's gonna kill me. This guy's definitely gonna kill me. I picked up a murderer.
So I'm dead.
This is great. He says that Rogers turns to him and says, "Are you the one? Were you the one that was shooting those rockets off of Mount Olympus?" Those rockets off of Mount Olympus. First of all, Mount Olympus obviously isn't here. Hartshorn says, "No, wasn't me. Sorry." And then Rogers said, "Good," and was relieved. And then he was angry and he said, quote, "Somebody is shooting rockets off of Mount Olympus, and one of these days it will hit my pyramid and blow me up."
Oh, boy.
So this is fucking ridiculous. Obviously, this is these assholes. They're going to hit my pyramid, Jimmy. I'd say this to you all the time. I'm like, dude, please watch my pyramid.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable with the rockets and the pyramids. So Hartshorn tries to change the subject and bring it back to small talk out of this type of shit and says, "So, where are you from?" He literally says, "Where are you from?" And Rogers said, quote, "This is my land. I own it all." As he put his arms out to the expanses. Literally.
So talking? Is that what you mean?
All right. So you live in a pyramid. You have all the land, but you choose to take this part of it and live in a pyramid. Okay, I understand what's happening here. So he said Hartshorn gave him a can of 7-Up to drink, and he I guess, went to the Strode residence and dropped him off there. It was the next house he came upon. Yeah. Now it makes sense why he dropped him off there. Because I'm like, why would you drop him off here? He didn't request to be dropped off at the Strode house. This guy just dropped him off at a house because he couldn't have him in the fucking car anymore because he's talking about pyramids and rockets and Mount Olympus and shit. He's out of his mind.
Maybe they'll help you. Yeah.
Maybe they'll help you. Drops him off in front of the Strode residence here. Now, there's a sign up at the front of the residence in handwriting that says, "This property protected by Winchester." There.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they're miners in the desert.
Yeah.
So Rogers turned to Hartshorn and said, "This property's protected by Winchester. Is this a setup?" So he was all suspicious that he was like dropping him off to be murdered.
Right.
So he turned to him and asked if it was a setup. And the guy's like, "No, enjoy your 7-Up. Bye."
I'm just dropping you off somewhere where at least I know these people are armed.
Yeah.
Just in case you're crazy.
Maybe they'll take care of your shit. So, yeah, he goes in there. He eats beans. Apparently, the family came home like right after he fucking got in there. He ate some beans, had half a cup of coffee. They came home and this happened, basically. So, on December 5th, 1980, 3 days after the killings, Rogers had tried to get into Canada at that point. He was turned away from the Canadian border because the Canadian officials determined he had no means of supporting himself. He didn't have any money. Like, we're not letting some vagrant American in here.
Shit all over his legs.
with weird pyramids and shit, talking about Mount Olympus. Well, this is another reason why. When they were talking to him and they said, "You can't come in, you don't have any money, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Sure I can. Number one, I don't need money because I got other things going for me. Number two, borders mean nothing to me because I am the Emperor of North America. So it's fine."
Yeah. Goodbye.
The Emperor of North America. Another, when he went to talk to another official, he called himself the King of North America. So we're not sure of his official title, Jimmy. That's the thing. We don't know if he is the emperor or the king. I guess you can switch back and forth when you're the emperor and the king, So not sure.
Just
but
the guy in charge. That's all it means.
What he's saying is, I'm fine. I'll go through this border, and you don't really have dominion over me here. I'm obviously in charge. I own all of this land. Didn't you talk to the other guy? So they said he said a bunch of other weird shit that was just like pyramids, Mount Olympus, all this strange shit. And they were like, yeah, you're not coming into the country. Sorry. They turned his ass back around. And they also said that they found the Strode's abandoned pickup truck at the scene of an accident. That's where it was ended up being found. He got into an accident, then walked on foot to the Canadian border.
Oh, my God.
Like a lunatic. Now, the district attorney in Nevada said the last we heard of him, he was in Montreal. We traced a phone call to an individual we were watching, and the call came from Montreal, but he never got to Montreal. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They said that he was developed as a suspect also in a murder in Washington State. There's some similarities, but we can't confirm it yet. They never end up going further with that, but there's a lot of there was a lot of talk at the time of some strong similarities in the manner of death and actually the location, the day he was there, all this type of shit. So
there were 9 people, and he set them up like a pyramid, shit like that.
Yeah, and then shot them all down and then left a knife in one of their chests. So this case is too long to get into that, but I'm definitely going to do a little more research. I'll give you guys an update next week on that too. I want to find out exactly the details of the murder. Then I got to do some newspaper archive hunting and all that sort of shit. So it's a definite rabbit hole to go down. But I'm really curious about this shit. So I'm curious. He could have. Who knows what the hell he's just shooting at everybody he sees. He could have killed how many people?
We'll bonus that one up.
Yeah, well, that might be a good bonus episode, or maybe we'll find out how much is there. If it's enough for something, we'll do it like that. So all this, and they arrest him based on him throwing himself on a car in a state that they didn't even know he was in, and he could have gotten away with it. So he just fucked himself over every minute here. He's held on $1 million bond after this. And he refused to waive extradition and all that sort of shit. They obviously end up being able to extradite him. Yeah. Now, the pathologist here says that the evidence indicates that the first person he attacked was 72-year-old Mary.
Yeah.
He attacked Mary. Yeah. I guess he stabbed her in the back as she entered her bedroom. That was the first attack. He said that that Rogers struck so hard that 2 ribs were broken and droplets of blood hit the ceiling when he withdrew the knife.
Wow.
So it was a real violent in and out. Now, Emery was the next person to enter the room, and I guess he heard a commotion.
Yeah.
He entered the room and was face to face with Rogers here. So apparently, Strode received, according to the pathologist, a slight stab wound in the back in a brief scuffle before Rogers buried the knife to the hilt in his chest.
Wow.
A butcher knife to the hilt. So he had 2 stab wounds, 1 minor and 1 was obviously all the way in, but he didn't die. He was walking around with a stab wound with a knife sticking out of his chest.
Fucking chest.
He's a 71-year-old miner, Jim. This is a tough man. You know what I mean? These are rugged people. He was going to pull it out and call him a pussy, probably. You know? So I'm going to put you back in your pyramid, son.
He's going to pull it out, handle the man, and then go back to work.
You shoot a man in the beard and he just takes the bullet out and throws it out of his truck. Like, this is a tough group of people, dude. This is crazy. So, apparently Rogers then, he was still stumbling around with the knife sticking out of his chest, so Rogers shot him twice with his own. He stole the guy's gun, obviously, because they had guns everywhere in this trailer that he had access to before they came home. He got himself a gun, shoots him twice with his own pistol. Then he shoots Mary as well, who apparently had crawled into the corner of the room and was still alive, so he shoots her as well and ends that. So it's much worse with the daughter, Miriam Treadwell. She is almost blind in one eye, and her other eye she went completely blind in and had just been fitted with a glass eye.
Oh my God.
She's 41 years old, one glass eye, other eye almost completely blind, and also walked with a leg brace as she had a problem with her everything here, so she had a disability there. They said that he just placed the gun to her back and fired once, and then shot her. She fell down, and then he shot Emery again, even though he was already dead. He figured he was tough, so pop another one in to make sure he's dead.
What the fuck?
Then he dragged Miriam into the pile of bodies. At some point, though, he started tying her wrist with an electrical cord. But didn't, I guess, gave up on it because she was dead. Yeah. So, it was the second bullet. The reason why he shot Emery again was because the second bullet he shot at him was the one that hit the pocket watch. So that didn't do what he wanted it to do. And that's when they got the kind of the time of death. These pathologists here said that the minute hand had been blown off the watch, but the hour hand was almost at the 1 o'clock mark when he found it, so they can tell by the hour hand. You don't need the minute hand. And, they said that it's unusual to be able to determine the order of the multiple wounds of the victims but they were able to do it from the amount of bleeding. Because he started on Mary, then went to Emery, so the later wounds have much less bleeding because they had bled out a lot. Right. So they could tell exactly by the amount of blood, they could tell exactly when the wounds were delivered.
Wild.
It's pretty fucking interesting here, yeah. They said the first shot, the Strode was shot 3 times, first through the chest from front to back, second through the chest from right to left. The bullet hit the watch. The third was in his back. The final bullet was lodged in his backbone after he already was dead. And Strode had been stabbed twice with a butcher knife, still stuck in from the second wound. The knife was his knife from the kitchen, a family butcher knife. They said that the cause of Miss Strode's death was the stab wound, which appeared to have been done with the same knife. He said she must have been very close to death when she was shot from a very close range in the left breast with the bullet lodging in her stomach because she didn't bleed that much. Miriam, like we said, was shot very close distance, which was evidenced by the gunpowder in the wound. So it was right on there. An electrical cord had been tied around her wrist after she died. So there's that. Now, he pleads not guilty and not guilty by reason of insanity. He's, which I would expect that, honestly, from this.
Okay.
That's what you expect, you know? I mean, if you're an attorney and they just pull you in and sit you down with this guy and like, here's your client, and you talk to him for 5 minutes about Mount Olympus and pyramids and rockets and shit, you're going to go, this is insanity defense. I'm sorry. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You know, you
jumps on my back and tries to escape that way.
That's the other thing, too. He jumped on the back of my station wagon as I tried to pull out of the jail.
Right.
So they file for a change of venue because this is a very rural area, and this spreads like wildfire. Everybody knows about this. Yeah.
There's only 200 people to tell.
Exactly. So they said back then there was less. It was like 100 people to tell.
Right.
So they said that generally there'd been an emotionally charged and prejudicial publicity in local newspapers. His motion stated that the makeup of the community is largely agricultural and mining, with many community members living in remote areas, as the victims did. And they said that, I guess basically the attorney said that during the course of her representation and her residence is in Pershing County, she said that she's been approached on numerous occasions by local citizens who believe that they, are like normal people who would sit on a jury. And they said they were approached by people asking me if if she was representing the defendant. And one or more of the people said that he should be taken out and hanged as it was done in the old days.
Wow.
So that's the sentiment of the town, is take him out and hang him. So she's like, maybe a change of venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they said that other members of the community had seen him in the days prior to December 1980. And he basically showed up for a few days in this area and was a fucking menace. People remember him from that. He showed up, got in bar fights, broke cue sticks in a fit of rage while playing pool and fighting with people, and also was loitering in mining camp areas, which is not allowed to do.
So they all knew this was going to happen.
They were all like, this guy's a lunatic. Everybody kind of stay away from him. And then somebody dropped him off in front of someone's house here.
Yeah.
So they apparently they said that members of the community who've been interviewed by the state as witnesses, also who knew the victims, all expressed that their family, their friendly and helpful nature. They were very well liked in the community. They said that he's a young transient who's lived in Hollywood. His lifestyle is totally different from people in the local community, so they believe that they're going to be prejudicial against him, blah, blah, blah. He raises all this stuff. They submit that the jury selection will reveal that he it can't receive a fair trial. They said it would be impossible for an outside hippie type to receive a fair and impartial trial, considering the murder of local citizens. They said, with only one exception, each of the 54 potential jurors examined about this had prior knowledge and had heard something about the crime or about him. Yeah. 53 of 54 had heard about it. So maybe this sounds like a change of venue.
And the 54th was lying his ass off.
That's the thing. He's like, no, I never heard that before. He's the guy who was like, OJ who? I don't watch football or movies or television or anything. I'm living a bubble. So they, Jesus Christ. They also said that 5 of the people on the jury were friendly with local law enforcement. 7 had difficulty accepting any insanity defense at any time, they said. They could never accept it. And 2 functionally equated first-degree murder with the mandatory imposition of the death penalty, no matter the case. That's the jury pool. That's his jury. And they're going for the death penalty as well here.
Of course.
So, yeah. He's charged with this. Obviously, attorney files the affidavit revealing that all of this stuff. And the only objection to they also request a sequester. Can you sequester them so they can't go home and gossip? The only objection that the prosecution had to the sequestration was it was inconvenient to the jurors. And they said, no change of venue, no sequestering them. Fuck it. We're good. We'll get the people who know about the case, and then they can go home and talk to their fucking family about it and their neighbors and gossip and everything else. So this is not good.
No, this is begging for appeals to overturn the shit.
That's not good. So the trial comes up, and his attorney says that he can't remember any of this happening. He just doesn't even remember it. He doesn't know. Yeah. That's what they said. He's so crazy, he doesn't know.
Rogers doesn't understand. He doesn't remember anything.
He doesn't know, but he would like to have everyone over to his pyramid for beans and coffee. Other than that, he has no idea what's happening. So they said that he was a paranoid young man. This is Virginia Shane, his co-counsel. He's a paranoid young man who was running away from something before he ever came to the Strode family's mine here. They said that. They said that once there, he saw plenty to feed his paranoia. She said, including in the yard between where he was dropped off and the door, there was a dead dog who had been shot 19 times.
Wow.
That's a lot of times to kill a dead dog. I don't know why.
James, that's reloading several times.
I don't know what you would. I don't know if they were like, they killed it and then they were like, fuck it, this is fun to shoot a dog. This is crazy. But somebody shot a dog 19 times, and then a sign scrawled in large letters at the entrance to the Strode residence warning this property is protected by Winchester. Mm-hmm. Numerous bumper stickers proclaiming the virtues of owning guns, as well as the virtues. I know this is a great way to put it. As well as, quote, 7 guns scattered around the house in plain view. Just lying on tables and shit. That's where he picked one up and shot them with it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I got one, but that's even reckless.
Yeah, this is just all over the house.
That's
just
crazy.
Whatever. There's no kids around, but still, probably a little too accessible.
Yeah.
So they said that the district attorney also has instructed every witness to write the dates and times that they saw Rogers. That way, he made a map right up to through the timeline. Wow. And, across everything of how he got there and all sorts of shit. The DA says he's going to call 24 prosecution witnesses and present 150 to 200 exhibits, which is a lot, including about 100 items gathered at the murder scene here. One guy isn't going to testify, Ray Horn, the guy who, Kevlar beard.
Kevlar face.
Kevlar face here, he said that he's in Missouri. He said he doesn't have time for all this shit. He's losing money. Literally said, I'm losing money. I can't come all the way over there, and I'm going to lose money. So he said,
in the Ozarks pushing meth, honey.
They couldn't find him to subpoena him, and they figured that he was in that he's in Missouri is what they figured. So instead, they just had his testimony entered into evidence anyway.
Hilarious.
So that's a little shady in a death penalty case as well. He said that something hit me in the face, and then it was a beard, and then it was a bullet in his beard. Right. It's worse than a bee in your bonnet. A bullet in your beard. I'd rather have a bee in my bonnet. Yeah. So they allowed Horn's previous testimony to be read into record over the objection, obviously, of the defense counsel, and also testimony from Joe Schleffler, who's a resident deputy at Imlay, indicated that authorities were unable to serve Horn the subpoena, so they let him do it. Now, first prosecution witness is going to be Douglas Morrison Jr., the assistant director on family here. Now,
this is going to be a blast.
Yes, they bring him up here. I guess they said Rogers has been living with him for 3 years.
Oh, boy.
He moved there at 20. He's now 23, and he's been 3 years been living with him. So defense counsel, who is from the public defender's office, just bluntly asked Morrison, who, by the way, is like 68, 70 years old, asked Morrison if the relationship had been homosexual in nature. That's the words he used. And before Morrison could answer, the judge asked Bourne what relevance that had to the trial. He's like, oh, that's some appealable shit here. Hold on a second.
It's 1980. What are we doing?
Yeah, back up here. That's a real hand grenade in 1980. You know what I mean? Back then, shit, they'd make a big deal out of that, especially in rural Nevada. This isn't West Hollywood here. So he said that the judge said that he had a lot of trouble with that, but he's going to allow the witness to answer anyway.
But I want to know, yes.
But you know what? I'm kind of curious, actually, what's going on. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at you. I want to know what's going on. So Morrison says this is his answer is, he says, quote, I don't believe it was a homosexual relationship. We were just very good friends. Here's the thing about a gay relationship. You know if you're in one.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the guy's penis. That's how you know if you're in it.
You've probably tasted it.
You know a lot about his penis that you wouldn't know otherwise. So I'm going to say that don't believe it was is probably, I don't believe that. We'll put it that way.
We were
I don't
experimenting? Is that what we mean? What do you
Maybe, yeah. I don't care either way. And it's ridiculous that shit would have to be, that someone would have to out themselves on the stand like that, obviously. I don't. Right. That's bullshit, honestly.
That's dumb.
That's dumb if it really didn't have it. If he tried to kill Morrison, that would have relevance. Was it a lover's quarrel? Were they what level were they fighting on? Did he owe rent money or did he cheat on him? Which one? Like, there's a big difference in those in terms of emotional reaction. But this,
but it's 1980. It's Hollywood. It's an old man that has a young boy staying with him for 3 years
and
that's
paying
not
for
pals.
his teeth to further his acting career and make him more handsome. Give me a fucking break here.
We know what's happening.
We're not judging it. We don't care. But come on, we're all looking around, going, "Are you fucking? Come on, bro." So. He said Rogers, he had spoken to him on the telephone a few days before the murder, and Rogers told him that he was planning to return to Hollywood to continue his efforts to be an actor. He's like, I'll be back soon. Don't worry. Keep my side of the bed warm or whatever.
Just out here in Joshua Tree on ecstasy. I'll be back in a minute.
Just burning it up at Burning Man. So also they bring on 2 Ohio cops who talk about his previous criminal record, because that's what they're hinging the death penalty on, is he has previous convictions for felony assault.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's what they're doing. That's his, and also depraved indifference and all that, like not depraved indifference, like the particularly depraved, torturous malice.
He's a habitual problem who's escalating.
Exactly. Now, they said that he stabbed 2 men 4 years ago. He said that he pleaded guilty and served time in jail for the assaults and got the suspended sentence and all that. His attorney, Rogers' attorney, said that the stabbings occurred during a drunken brawl. And they testified that he'd been convicted of felony assault for cutting another man with a broken bottle. And then Forte, the guy whose wife he gave drugs to, he said that he served as a narcotics informant after one of his assault sentences were shortened to do that. He pled guilty to felony aggravated assault charge in 76 and then pled guilty again in 77. But he said that the 76 assault, he received 1 to 5 years in prison in the suspended one. But the 77 charge, he pled guilty but failed to appear for a pre-sentencing hearing. So then he took off and went to California and just was there for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened. So let's bring in the psychiatrists, because and psychologists and all these people, because this is the curious part here.
Yeah.
So the defense presents the testimony of expert witnesses who indicate that he is a paranoid schizophrenic at the time of the evaluation, and that his behavior at the time of the commission of the crimes was consistent with psychotic paranoid delusions, schizophrenia, psychosis, and that Rogers could not tell right from wrong or the quality or nature of his acts. He's fucking batshit is what they're saying.
He's all right.
Completely and doesn't know what he's doing. So,
but at this point, though, do we blame him? Do we blame society? Or do we blame that fucking L.A. guru?
Do we blame him, or do we blame the guy who dropped him off in front of a house that...
Or that guy.
Who knows? So
delivered some Satan to that family? Jesus Christ.
Here you go. Enjoy your Diet 7-Up, and sent him into a house. Christ. So this is Dr. Ira B. Pauley. The Dr. Ira here says that, quote, "My opinion is that Mark Rogers was so virtually psychotic at the time of the crime that he was suffering from paranoid delusions, that he had been under considerable stress, probably in terms of exposure the night before, and somewhat because of his dietary intake, and given his emotional status, that he was actively psychotic and under the influence of being paranoid, that he was incompetent and unable to distinguish between right and wrong. That he was psychotic and that he was in a very frightened and paranoid state, which is clearly documented by witnesses who saw him immediately before and others who described his behavior immediately after the murders. And that this is consistent with my reevaluation of him several months later, and that this is the description of a psychotic paranoid schizophrenic. And on the basis of that diagnosis, I'm saying that he was delusional, therefore unable to distinguish between right and wrong at the time." So he says...
That's Ira.
That's Dr. Ira. Mm-hmm. Now, another psychologist, Martin E. Gutride, Ph.D., he testified for the prosecution and stated that it was his opinion that Rogers had an antisocial personality disorder and a, quote, schizo-type personality disorder rather than a mental illness. He's got disorders, but not illnesses. He's fucked up, but I wouldn't say sick. So that's one of those.
With the right medication, he might be able to have a day job. That's what I'm telling you.
I think he can make it. I really do. Or at least an acting gig. He doesn't even need medication for that. He can talk about pyramids and
normal.
Yeah, he's basically just fucking Shia LaBeouf. You know what I mean?
Right. Like he's John Travolta without a fucking license,
without a plane. John Travolta with no plane or fancy wigs. So beyond that, though, he thought this doctor believed that Rogers, due to his acting training, was malingering and pretending to be mentally ill. Oh. He says this is a big act, is what he thinks there. So that's his theory. So those are the dueling psychiatrists now, or dueling doctors. Now, Mom takes the stand, his mom.
Yeah.
The defense calls his mom, because his mom's got a theory as well of what set him off.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay. Now, Susan Boynton is her name. She said that her son became very distressed after she revealed to him in September of 1980, a few months before the murders, revealed to him that his 8-year-old stepsister had been sexually assaulted by his stepfather.
Okay.
She said it happened 2 years earlier, but she didn't tell Rogers about it until September 1980, which was about 2.5 months before he left the area and ended up in Nevada. So she said that she's since divorced the stepfather, and the daughter has moved back east to live with her natural father. So the mother tried to come to Bakersfield to take her from the stepfather, who was beating her, but when they couldn't agree on how many personal belongings, she told him she wasn't helping her. She told him he wasn't helping her, and she didn't want to see him again. That's what ended up happening. So that's the mother's testimony. And after that, so the defense puts up a psychiatrist saying, yeah, he's crazy. We think he's real crazy. And then the mother going, this is why I think he went crazy, because of the molestation of his stepsister.
They think he's crazy, and here's a trigger.
Yeah, he's crazy, and here's why, is basically what they tried to do. And then they said, defense rests. That's about enough from us, I think.
Oh, that's balls.
Less than a day, they said that was it. That was all. So in the closing arguments here, the prosecutor, Richard Wagner, old Dickie Wags, he depicted him as an aspiring Hollywood actor, wandering by chance into the Strode's isolated cabin 30 miles north of Imlay while they were gone, helping himself to a plate of beans and a cup of coffee, then waylaying the victims when they returned. Oh, boy. Sinister. Very sinister. The defense
charged up on coffee and beans.
Oh, man, that's what happens when you got beans and coffee in you. You don't want to get the fight over with quick because you got to fart. I'm going to let one rip if I try to wrestle with Emery. Elmer.
I'd feel like if you threw a knife too hard at somebody, you'd shit your pants.
I think so.
Just flexing your stomach muscles.
What are the odds that Emery was wearing overalls, do you think?
I bet they were.
It's like 97%, right?
It's probably 9%.
It's pretty. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. Not that, like I said, he's an old miner. But still,
it's either overalls or coveralls. Either way, there's an alls in the end of his.
It's alls. I got clothes alls. That's what that is. It's all my clothes have alls in them.
Throw me a pair of them alls. Cover or over?
I don't care which one. Goddamn.
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. It's all good. So. The defense says nobody will ever know what went on in the cabin. That's what Virginia Shane says. Yeah. But even if the district attorney's theories were true, she told them she said, if all this is true, then Rogers is so sick, paranoid, and so delusional that he's incapable of premeditated murder. You have to find him not guilty by reason of insanity. They said, his 8-year-old stepsister was sexually molested by his stepfather 2 years earlier, and he found out about it. That's crazy. She said he met that guru guy who screwed his brain all up. All these, you know how it is in Hollywood. There's these crazy gurus like Charles Manson. That's what happens. And started him thinking about pyramids, gurus, and Mount Olympus, and he got all mixed up, is what she said. She talked about him yanking off all the teeth, all the caps off his teeth. All of this shit. She said also, this is the other counsel, Robert Bork. He said he did not know these people and did not go up there intending to kill anyone. He had no idea where he was going. And they said he was dropped off in front of the Strode. He says the Strode compound. Nothing with a trailer can be considered a compound, I would say. With a scrawled sign proclaiming this property is protected by Winchester. And he said he asked the guy who dropped him off, is this a setup? So he thought that they were coming in to kill him. That's why he said he did it in self-defense. Case closed. Might as well just let him go now on his merry way.
What?
There you go.
What are your thoughts? That's like fucking ballsy.
He butchered a family.
Right.
This one is like, Yeah, I think he's fucking nuts, but I mean, I don't care where you put him. This is the thing I get. I don't care. I don't understand why people are so like, I get that people want vengeance and shit like that, but people are like, how dare you going to go in a mental hospital? And you ever been to a mental hospital? It's not for the criminally insane, not like a voluntary place, a place where you have to go by the state because you killed people. It's not a great place. I don't really give a shit where they put him. He just needs to be out of the circulation, I would say. Yeah. Out of the gen pop of society would be great. That's
my opinion of the
but
situation, though, is like sure, maybe he didn't go to the Strode's house intending to kill people,
but he did.
You get dropped off there and you see a sign that says protected by Winchester. You're probably, even if you had the plan to kill people, you might be rethinking it.
Maybe don't eat their beans.
Right. He went in with nobody there, eating their beans and drinking their coffee, and then tucked away a gun.
Yeah.
Now it's premeditated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He thought about it and he did it. I mean, sorry, but then he shot people after they were dead just to make sure. Like, they were definitely incapacitated. I don't think Emery was going to take him down while he had a butcher knife sticking out of his chest, but he said, I'm going to pop him a couple more times here. So the verdict comes around here, obviously. It's 6 men and 6 women who've all heard about the case and all know everyone in law enforcement and everything
and
like that.
Who can't wait to draw and quarter this man.
They're just dying to. And also, he's up for grand theft for stealing the pickup truck and shit like that, and attempted murder as well for shooting at Ray Horn.
Do more for that beard.
He's got that. So they find him guilty of first-degree murder, the jury does, for the 3 murders of the Strode family. And then he is found guilty on 1 count of attempted murder and grand theft for stealing the pickup truck.
Everything.
So, guilty across the board. They said he kept his eyes shut during the entire 5 hours of courtroom proceedings. He never opened his eyes. He sat down. They did a whole day. They came back with a verdict, and he never opened his fucking eyes.
I don't open my eyes. They can't see me.
But they said the verdict was read at 9:15 p.m., They said while the verdict was read, he opened his eyes dramatically and stared straight ahead and then bowed his head for the rest of it. Okay. That was it. So that was the only time he had his eyes open while they read the verdict, and then he went back to what he was doing.
Hilarious.
Deep thought, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So the aggravating circumstances in the sentencing here, you need aggravating circumstances that outweigh the mitigating circumstances to impose the death penalty for people who are from other countries that don't have the death penalty, like all of them except for Saudi Arabia and fucking Syria and shit. Because I mean,
Afghanistan and where Sharia law exists.
Yeah, places that you'd be, where you have to dress a certain way. We'll put it that way, even if you're on vacation. Those are places that have the death penalty.
Any place other than where women's clitoris is forcibly removed.
Yeah, that's all. Because it all goes together. It's in the same bag, really.
Right.
It's all on the same menu, I feel like. You know what I mean?
We ought to be doing that if we're going to keep this shit up.
Jesus. So they find the aggravating circumstance that he had been previously convicted of a felony involving the use or threat of violence to a person, as well as the aggravating circumstance that the murder involved torture, depravity of mind, or the mutilation of the victim. The jury found that there were no mitigating circumstances sufficient to outweigh the aggravating circumstances. You, sir, may fuck off. They give him the death penalty
today
for this. Yeah, right now. We're going to hang him outside. The death penalty, and then also they impose 10 years for grand theft and 20 years for attempted murder, and they run consecutive with the death penalty.
Holy shit.
So he's got the death penalty plus 30 years, where his corpse will be interned.
That's for sure.
They're gonna hang on to him and I don't know, make dream catchers out of him. I got
news for you, Mr. Rogers. Roberts? Is it Roberts?
It's Rogers, yeah. He's going to be in a different neighborhood nowadays. This is not good.
Mr. Rogers, you are now owned by the government.
Now you are owned by the government. They're going to take you to your own pyramid. It's not going to be a triangle.
It's going to be a square. It's going to be a square pyramid.
Little tiny rectangular pyramid. So, he gets that, 10 and 20 for that, and they asked him, quote, Mark, do you realize what this means? And he just said yes in a monotone way and continued to stare at the table in front of him. He didn't look up at the judge or anything like that when he was asked. He's led away from the courtroom. Several women jurors broke down and cried as they left the jury box because they just imposed the death penalty, and that's kind of a weird thing for people to do.
Yeah.
It just is. That's what they also don't notice, don't say all the time, is that, like, that fucks the jury up sometimes, too, when they're kind of, especially
when you got to do that.
Yeah, when they're pressured by other people, too, it's tough. So the appeal process comes around here, and they deny him in 1985. They deny him in 1986 for post-conviction relief. They held an evidentiary hearing at which he testified. That must have been fun as shit. I would love the video of him testifying at an evidentiary hearing.
Yeah.
I would pay for that footage if anybody has it. Literally, whatever it costs, I'll go into debt for that shit. I want to watch this.
That's a public record, right?
Yeah, but they wouldn't have videoed it back then. No. It wouldn't have been on video. No, 1986, like appeals court.
Anybody do a comic of it? I'll read that.
Oh, God, Jesus. Just a picture of him on the stand just ranting and raving, talking about pyramids. I want
Seems
it bad.
like a guy that would have, like, he's so nuts, he would have, like, half his face shaved. You know what I mean? Like that guy.
yeah, exactly. Half
like
his
right
face
down
shaved,
the middle.
Crop circles in his hair. Like, what's happening with you? So he files a petition for a writ of habeas corpus in 1987 here. This is counsel was appointed for him. He got some new counsel here. 1987, right after that, there's a stay issued for his execution where they say they got a, federal court's going to determine if his constitutional rights were upheld during the trial. He claims he was given ineffective counsel there, and the Nevada Supreme Court denied it, so then he's going up the chain here. 1989 in July, the court stayed that action so Rogers could exhaust certain claims in court. It's all legal shit. 1989, they're looking for extra legal aid for Virginia and Nevada death penalty people who have been convicted. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So convictees, I guess, convicts. They were saying that this is one guy who is this, the U.S. public defender. He says, I think inmates should be provided an attorney in every case. Most of the time they do get a lawyer, but not always, and it usually takes months. And the deputy Nevada attorney general, he said that they should deny the request and said the district court routinely provides counsel to death row inmates, and Mr. Flanagan knows it. The federal public defender just doesn't want to move on these cases. So the U.S. Supreme Court rules 5-4 in a case in Virginia that death row inmates are not constitutionally entitled to state-paid attorneys when appealing their sentences.
Yeah.
So basically, like, you can't have a good attorney on your death penalty appeal unless you can afford it. So they said that in Virginia, the state has an in-house prison attorney system that helps death row inmates appeal their cases. Prisoners, these are, that do this.
What?
Yeah, prisoners that have legal knowledge. They're in-house
A little
people.
bit of it.
Yeah, something that Nevada doesn't even have that. They said, quote, Nevada is nowhere near as sophisticated in its legal assistance scheme as Virginia. So they don't even have that. They just have, well, fuck you, buddy.
Right.
I mean, that's basically their thing. They said the two test cases this public defender used for his federal court motions involved Henry Dawson in Virginia and Mark Rogers in Nevada. So he was a Supreme Court. The Supreme Court heard about this idiot. Think about that. So 1990... remember Frank Strode, who found his family butchered and had probably the worst day of his life? Well, on August 19th, 1990, he dies. Oh. So that's a shame. Only 52 years old he died.
Fuck.
52 years old. Terrible,
So he
man.
stayed in that goddamn town nobody makes it to 75 in.
Yep, he died there. He's buried in the Winnemucca Cemetery.
Sure did.
Where we all hope to get. So 1990, he filed a second petition for post-conviction relief. It was denied. He appeals. Nevada Supreme Court dismissed the appeal. Oh, God. In 1993, between 67 and 93, there were two types of post-conviction relief available to people in Nevada. One was, Jesus, how do I explain this simply? Holy shit. Oh, God, this is annoying. Basically, the court refers to all Rogers State Court post-conviction actions. Whether I can't explain this. It would take us 20 minutes to explain the legalities of this. I'm so mad because I fucking read for an hour and a half what the shit that's going on here so I could explain it. And I went in other cases and I looked. And now I'm like, I can't explain this in the time allotted. This is crazy. The whole thing would be like,
Starting
legal
over.
wranglings with James and Jimmie. That's not a show. fucking ridiculous. So we'll skip that. Shit gets denied. We'll put it that way. 2011, there's an appeal for ineffective assistance of counsel, and he contends that his attorneys called his mother to testify against his will. He did not want his mother to testify. He said that his attorneys never discussed with him anything about his past or his family that they could use in the penalty phase either. So they didn't ask him like, hey, maybe your dad beat the shit out of you all the time when you were a kid. He said they never asked him any of that to get mitigating factors out of him.
Okay.
So they said that the defense attorney allowed the mother to testify, and his mother, this is his new attorney, said that his mother, quote, buried him, quite frankly, with her testimony about his troubled past. They said that she brought up things the prosecution wouldn't have been able to bring up unless he introduced character shit. So they fucked him, basically, is what this attorney said. The essence of the testimony was that he had a criminal background, he was cold and cruel, but he wasn't insane, and that she also said the defense counsel failed to adequately investigate his past while living in Ohio, so they didn't, like when the prosecutors brought up his charges, they didn't have it like adequately investigated to defend him on it, to say, well, he was only a kid at a party and got in a fight and that sort of shit. So the Chief Justice Al Gunderson said he was comfortable that Rogers got what he deserved, but he also told the county district attorney, Richard Wagner, quote, you weren't sorry to see mom on the stand, were you? It was like, they did you a favor, but you know they did you a favor.
Right.
He's saying, I'm not going to say it was ineffective assistance of counsel, but they definitely did the prosecution a favor, which seems like the definition of ineffective assistance of counsel, but I don't know. The Chief Justice said it seemed like a vain effort to overturn the death sentence because, quote, maybe something could be found in Rogers' past to change the result of the trial and penalty hearing. The defense insisted it was more than just a possibility, but they said no. The judge brought up that there was testimony that Rogers used his acting training to fake insanity symptoms, and he said that Rogers could have been using a strategy of not helping his defense in hopes of getting something less than a death sentence. You know, he said he could have been doing this on purpose.
Yeah, but if he was a good enough actor to pretend to be crazy, wouldn't he be on TV?
And he had caps. I would think he would have gotten a role or two.
He would have been fine.
So the defense attorney insisted that the court should grant the appeal and says something very logical. When you're going to execute someone, you better be right. You've got to be sure the chips are all in order. She said that the value society puts on life mandates that in death penalty cases, there be a qualitative difference between the defendant's crime and a killing by the state. Mm-hmm. So that's all very good. On cross-examination, when pressed to identify the witnesses that Rogers believed his attorney should have called to testify in the penalty phase, first he had trouble naming anybody. And then all of a sudden he comes out with this fucking torrent, this river of shit here. He says that he would call Robert Hupps, William Lansky, Ted Brady, and John Profisoli. He said that, quote, all these people I worked for a stretch of 2 or 3 years, and I worked hard and was always there and clean and did my work. And he said, they should have come on to say he was good at work 4 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
That would have helped in a murder trial. Especially when he said he's crazy. They're going to come up and go, no, he's a good guy. We had lunch together, just beans and coffee, and just hung out all the time. I mean,
very mitigating.
Very mitigating here. It's fucking strange. He also says that the performance with respect to the use of his prior criminal convictions as an aggravating circumstance he said that wasn't good. They didn't challenge that enough. And they said his self-serving testimony that his attorneys could have located and called witnesses from Los Angeles, and they would have generally said positive things about him, was not compelling evidence that he was prejudiced by his attorney. Another point is the sequester. He said, I wanted a sequester, and they didn't give it to him. He says he's entitled to a new trial and sentencing hearing because the court ruling denying the motion to sequester, violated his federal rights. Mm-hmm. Grand larceny. Also, he said he shouldn't have been charged with grand larceny for stealing the truck. Because he says the jury was asked to determine whether Mr. Rogers took the Strode's automobile with the specific intent to permanently deprive them of such property. Evidence was introduced that Mark Rogers killed 3 persons he did not know while leaving $8,000 in cash in the very small home. The nature of the offense suggests that robbery was not the motive. There was a myriad of evidence that he was psychotic at the time of the offense, and they said that he could have been taking the truck with intent for fleeing for his life and not with the intent of permanently depriving the Strodes or their beneficiaries of the property. In
That's
fact,
an excellent point.
That's what I mean. In fact, the testimony, but that's like if he's crazy, you have to believe that. If not, it's you have to bite the whole apple on that one, which is tough. You have to believe one thing and take the rest of it, like we said before. So they said that he chased people and shot at people for no reason, no motive. He wasn't going to rob them or do anything. They said there was no way to determine his motive given his mental illness. He was experiencing some distortion of reality. Whatever. We'll give you that. Also, the juror questions. They said that refusing to allow the defense counsel to ask each juror what his or her individual verdict was in previous jury service was unreasonably restrictive. Also, prior convictions as the aggravator. He's trying to say they said he had 2 convictions, but he really only had 1 conviction, even though he pled guilty. He didn't do the sentencing, so he's trying to say that's not a conviction. And the court's like, just because you fled the state doesn't mean that you didn't do it. You just fled the state.
Technicalities.
Stupid. Yeah.
Still in charge and you're convicted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they were also saying that the depravity of mind aggravator and the prior convictions, that was error, and they were saying he doesn't have depravity of mind and all this type of shit. He didn't they go into whether he mutilated them or not, or tortured them, or for the aggravator. So they're trying to break both aggravators. He only had 1 conviction and he didn't do anything that bad to them, is what he's saying. Okay. But they're like, he did shit after death.
Right.
So that can be considered. He put an electrical cord around a dead girl's wrist. Why?
Right.
That's something.
He stole a truck. Whether or not he took the $8,000 too, it doesn't matter. He still stole. You know what I mean? He's still in the commission of a robbery.
If he stole a spoon, it's still he stole something. So we've had this before.
It's not our fault he chose the fucking thing that was harder to sell. And you know what I mean? It doesn't benefit him as well.
Yes. Well, the decision comes in. The court concludes that the constitutional errors regarding the aggravating circumstances found by the jury, those errors asserted by Rogers in all these different counts, Rogers' second amended petition has substantial and injurious effect or influence on determining the jury's verdict, as the errors significantly skewed the weighing of aggravating and mitigating evidences or circumstances by which the jury found Rogers eligible for the death penalty. In finding these errors harmless, the state court's rulings were an unreasonable application of a clearly established federal law as determined by the Supreme Court and were based on an unreasonable determination of the facts in light of the evidence presented. The court will, therefore, grant Rogers habeas corpus relief with respect to his death sentence. It is ordered that his second amended petition for writ, blah, 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 is granted in part and denied in part. Basically, he's getting new sentencing. Mm-hmm. They grant him shall either grant petitioner a new penalty phase trial and initiate proceedings relative to that new penalty phase trial, or vacate the death sentence and impose on him a non-capital sentence consistent with the law. Mm-hmm. So they can try to get the death penalty on him again, file it again, or they can just say, never mind, and it's life in prison, and he's got life consecutive with another 30 years, so he's probably not going anywhere, type of thing. So they can do one or the other. He has the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. He's got a case on the calendar for William K. Nakamura Courthouse in Seattle, April 19th, 2021.
They're still going.
Still going. In a couple weeks, he's got Mark Rogers versus James Desarenda, the state of Nevada Appeals Court District's judgment on remand. So they're appealing the decision to change his sentence, basically. Yeah, they're doing that. So that's what's going on.
Appealing the appeal. God damn it.
It's in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, so that's the very top before the Supreme Court. So if this gets thrown back, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, which is crazy. So that's going on. Keep up on that. And the whole family is buried in Winnemucca, unfortunately for them, which sucks. Everyone's buried. That's why the one guy was buried there, because the rest of the family was too. That is... That's the story. It's still ongoing.
We're not done yet.
They're not done yet. And I definitely have to follow up on that Washington murder to see about that also.
When is that in 2021? April?
April 19th, 2021 it is up there. So he's on the schedule. Who knows if it'll get delayed or whatever, but it's on the docket for now. So we'll see what happens. That's the case. That's Imlay, Nevada, and a little bit of Florida and a little bit of California and a little bit of Canada and a little bit of Washington. all over the goddamn place.
It's a shithole, that place.
Man, yeah, that Imlay sucks. But we hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed that crazy shit story. I don't know where else you're going to hear stories about pyramid people and Mount Olympus and all that. We find the deepest, darkest holes. We go deep in the mines for you, everyone. That's what we do to find crazy stories like this.
I'm stunned.
So, isn't that crazy?
I'm stunned with how fucking deep that dive was. That was a lot. That was too much Nevada. That's what that was.
That's a lot of Nevada, man. That's why, like, last week, I was like, we got next week, crazy. Yeah. And then, it's crazy. I wasn't lying. So we got all that. If you enjoyed that show, please tell the world about it. How do you do that? Apple Podcast, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars because it matters, and we have no idea why. It helps drive you up the charts, and we don't know why, but people see the show more then, and they want to listen to it, and it helps us on the business end. So if you want to help out the show, it's a good way to do it. Give a review, say anything you want, just give 5 stars. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com right now, where you can find all of the everything for crime and sports and small town murder. We're going to have updates on tour dates coming up soon. Everything keeps getting rescheduled. As of right now, I know we have a couple at the end of 2021 that we're hanging on to that we're hoping are going to still go on.
Pretty sure they'll happen.
We're pretty sure they're
happening. That depends on you.
That depends on everybody, yeah. And then we're stacking up back for 2022. Most of the same places we had. A couple of the cities are going to go away just because we don't have time. And
have to.
But all the ones that we cut, we made sure there's another city close by.
Right.
So if you feel like driving a couple hours, you can go to another show. But I mean, otherwise, it just the schedules didn't allow it, or it was that wasn't available on the only time we could be there. So it's nothing. If your city gets canceled, it's nothing personal. We promise. It's not because we hate it.
Logistics and difficulties with time management are a pain in the dick. They really are.
We kind of got choices. Would you rather do this or this type of thing? And sometimes it just was based on, well, more people can go to that show, so we'll do that one. Yeah. And that's kind of how we're doing. We just want the most people to be able to go to the shows as possible, whatever. So that's how that works. Get on there and follow us around on shutupandgivememurder.com. Listen to Small Town Murder. Listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie. And do all that shit. And also, you should, where was I? Social media. That's right. You got to follow us on social media. You'll get all the updates on any of these tour dates that pop up, too. We'll put it all up, and anything else that comes up, we'll tell you. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. You can do all of those. Patreon is popping right now.
Boy, is it.
We have really just been putting it out there, laying it on the line for Patreon. So if you have been waiting to subscribe to Patreon, get on it, man. I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's really worth it. This past week, you can start out with that right there. We did a little thing on the documentary about the Hotel Cecil and the Elisa Lam disappearance and all that sort of thing. And we really ripped YouTube sleuths and all this sort of shit. It was a lot of fun. And then also this last weekend was the prisoner dating game, which was absolutely incredible this time. Jimmie made his worst decision ever. You have to hear it to believe it. It's so perfect and so fucking funny. It's ridiculous.
It was bound to happen.
It had to. It had to. You've been pretty good at dodging bullets, I got to be honest. And
listen, I can sniff out a pedo in a second.
You can. And this time, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But he didn't end up with who he wanted to end up with. We'll put it that way. So check all that. The lady, sort of, although her crime was wild. Holy shit, she was the wildest one out of all the women.
Maybe one of the worst women on earth.
Probably, based on what she did. It was like, whoa, that was
a bad woman.
Oof, that's a big boy crime right there. That's crazy. So, based on that, definitely check all that out. New stuff coming next week. We'll have more episodes. You get access to both shows, Patreon, Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder, and the whole back catalog as well. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And also, you'll be a producer, so Jimmie can mispronounce your name horribly as well, even though he's trying his best to do it well. It's going to be great. And if you just want to be a producer, have your name read at the end of the show, and also have great karma and, not for nothing, our undying affection, you can do that as well at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And whichever way you do it, Patreon, PayPal, every damn people send us a $20 bill in the mail like they're our grandma as well sometimes, like in a card. And however you give us stuff, it's incredibly thank you. It's just amazingly we're so grateful for it. Honestly, we
and
can't
the mail
tell you
lately has been really fun too. You guys send incredibly funny things.
That's the other thing.
We got an autographed picture of Hillbilly Jim today, James.
That's great. Oh yeah, I saw that out there. We rushed in. Yeah. We rushed in the studio so fast today. I didn't even glance, but I remember seeing. I was like, "Is that Hillbilly Jim?" And then like something else came up, and we were in the studio. So
it's amazing. The gifts you guys send, the affection you guys send.
Thank you.
You guys are just amazing people, and we can't thank you enough.
Well, when we get out of here, what we'll do is we'll look at the Hillbilly Jim picture. We'll talk it over a plate of beans and a cup of coffee. Yeah. What do you say, buddy? Let's do that.
We'll invite our friends Kevin and Larry over, and we'll shave them, and we'll knit a couple of
so good.
Kevlar.
Going to be so good. Kevlar beard.
Kevlar vest.
So now we have scum face, shit beard, and Kevlar beard. We're growing all these beards. That said, though, do all of that. Go to PayPal, go to Patreon. Thank you so much. Follow us on social media and be one of these people who Jimmy's going to talk about right now. Oh, I can't wait to hear about him. Jimmy, hit me with these people like a crazy man with a can of 7-Up.
This week's executive producers are Wendy and Ashley Robelia, and they lost their brother-in-law.
Oh, no.
They sent me a message, too,
well, shit.
and I can't recall all the it doesn't matter.
That's
we don't
terrible.
Want to give details of that.
That's just awful though.
But Wendy and Ashley, listen to the show. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Other executive producers are Thomas DeMello, Ashley Vio, Carol Braun, Joanne Ahern, Ben McDonough. He sent Lenny Dykstra prints a couple months ago.
Cool.
Those drawn pictures.
Yeah, those are
amazing.
Cool shit. Thank you.
Sophie Stahl, Jordan Bennett, of course, Jana Holbrook, Josh Smith, Janine Heidelbaugh. Hey Holly, it's Beth. That's Bethany Barrio.
Hey Beth, it's Holly.
Yeah, that's who it is. No, hey, Holly.
I'm giving it back to Beth. Why should Holly get all the greeting?
Chrissy Ann Castaldi is sticking around. Thank you. Jill Knapp, Melinda Gardner, Chris Davis on Discord, Stephanie Ford, Tyler Brown, Kenny Gregg, and Latasha Campbell. And I believe they're her daughters. They're her kids. Because I don't want to assume shit. Leala, what is this? Leala, Lalasia, and Lania. I think I got those right. Probably not.
Cool.
Thank you, Latasha. Other producers this week also are King Putin, Sarah Hines or Hins. She actually, somebody couldn't get the Patreon bonus stuff, so she sent her money to
oh my God.
Get a patron bonus so that she could listen to the shows. Unbelievable. Thank you so much,
People do that.
Sarah.
They buy each other tickets to the virtual live shows. Our audience is people are fucking awesome. You're truly just good people, man.
That's legit support.
So many good people. Yeah, they'll help another human being who they don't even know.
It's wild.
How nice they are.
Truly wild.
It's cool shit.
Michael DeGrief, I think it's DeGrief, Madison Decker, Brendan Abels, Liz Vasquez, James Martyr, Jessica DeHorty.
Wow.
Anyway, it's her birthday.
That one, Jimmy. And it's her birthday?
Jessica.
Good God. We're sorry. Happy birthday. Jimmy called you a Jessica the whore on your birthday. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Karl Kirschner is German also, which is fantastic because I don't know how to stop this from doing the umlaut. Next week on Instagram, I'm going to type Karl Kirschner into this fucking computer and let everybody watch as it fucking does the umlaut. I don't know why it does it. It's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Peyton Meadows, Layla Hallman, Amanda Knight, Brandon Benio, and his coworker Ronnie had a birthday. Had a baby. Had a baby.
Oh, that's better than a birthday.
Or his
birthdays every year.
I imagine. Unless Ronnie's the girl. I don't know.
Who knows? We don't know. Someone had a baby. Congratulations. We're excited for you.
Bethany Darrow, Kayla Lyons, Thomas Smith, Annette Zagalski, Victoria Blau, Madison Butler, Richard Lawrence. It's his birthday also. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jeffrey Perota's girlio, Teresa, had a birthday too. Happy birthday.
Hey,
Melissa Klein, Jerry Crawford, Monica Hernandez, Jennifer Weathers, Christy Franklin, Janice Hill, Sarah Peterson, David Hartman. Happy birthday to Snafu, whoever the fuck that is.
Birthday.
Kim's Fab Lip Sense. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's Kim, obviously. She sells lip sense. That's who it is.
So look for Kim's lip.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but it's lip stuff, and if you want it, you'll know what it is.
What do you put on your lips? It's
if you're looking for it, you know what it is.
Lars Gazaby, Amanda Brennan, Oscar Arriaga, Pixie De Leon, Liz Rygard, Jude Kendall, Ken Dorfman, and his brother's Fred's car, I believe, is mangled. So, whatever.
You're sorry.
Gary Friedman, and he explained.
Do you have a baby?
Gary Friedman explained the rabbi thing to me, and he's even more hysterical now. Andrew Mateel, Medley, Shane Grant, Nathan Aldridge, Brett Stetson, Kellen Dragomonovich, Paula with no last name, Lindsay Payne, Isabella Roland, Ryan Carter, Tim Goins, Ethan with no last name, Zachary Tully, Joseph Clayton, Samantha Smith, Elia Hernandez, Taylor Michael, Charles David, Patrick Blackwell, Seth with no last name, Aaron Nesseth, Isabel Tomeo, Chris DeBello, Adam Hardy, Jamie Jeans, Quentin Robinson, Brad with no last name, Cindy Williams, Amy Quakenbush?
Quackenbush.
You might be right. Joseph Grande, Marcia Moores, Caitlin Payne, Elijah Nia, oh boy, Scruff Winters, Mac E-Boy.
It's a good opera song.
What is this? Pool for me too. Cale Calderon. God damn it. Paige Leilani, William G. Bryant. Yep. Kemp. Oh boy. Ellie. Nope.
What happened now?
Lisa Ramos, Noah Yates, Zoe EAU. What is that? O? Is that O? Primo. Andrea Gibson, Chase Malden, Anna Rodriguez, Four Eyes in NCSD.
It's Baloo. Bernard Baloo was that.
Right. So hers is
Palau.
Promau. Eddie Shannon, Amanda Linderman, Jonathan Marion, Asia Stiles, Brielle Jensen, William Grebe, Alana Green, Ben Blake, Alex Shagan, Chris with no last name, Michael Seiler, Savannah Hicks, Cassandra Buckaloo, Jared Delbert, Craig Perry, Danik Perrier, Megan Lawrence, Tammy, what'd you say?
It's water around.
Yeah, it is. It's so good. That lemon and the lime, fuck. It's so good.
You like the sparkling shit. Yeah.
It's so rad.
You like that.
Where did I go? Sean O'Connor, Tammy Kilpatrick, Mandy Roning, David Klemus. He donated twice on Patreon, so I imagine one's for him and one's for somebody else. I don't know.
Thank you.
Either way, thanks, David. Charles Rivera, Devin Rose, Heidi Novak, Emily Rourke, Kester Millman, Flankstful, Chad Graham, Tiffany Hyde, H.J. Sheremy. Oh, boy. Matthew Welburn, Amanda Baker, A Microwave. What? That can't be right. It has to be an autocorrect, right? That can't be somebody's name. So. Amber Longbow.
Alfred Microwave.
Longaball.
Nice to meet you.
Jen A, Alex H, Aaron with no last name, Megan Kassler, Amy B, Amanda Hendrickson, Brandy Adkins, Bella Hilliker. I like her. Oh, boy. Jackie Caldwell. Yep. Lindsay Harper, Smooth Daddy Bob, Sarah Gaddy, Lane Hook, Elizabeth Vitulo, John Marsh, Laura Burns, Corey Billingsley, Elizabeth Lemon, Liz Lemon. Hey,
Liz Lemon's in the house.
Casey Gorsuch, Carolyn with no last name, Michael Snowden, Matthew Hopkins with a Z, Morgan Smith, Monica Diaz, Julia Mancini, Cody Tipton, Amber Aggie, Rob Lanto, Andrew Blanchard, Ben Anderson, Ryan Hutchison, that's Christy Hoover, Autumn Pena, Caroline Cranford, Ayla Caligari. Nope. Probably. Maybe it's Isla. Lakota Colleen, Casey Hicks, Megan Toolman, Nikki Smith, Suzanne Kennedy, Patty McInerney, Shayla Overway, Shaylin, Overway, Ty Cabral, Elizabeth Burhow, boy, oh boy, Christine and Amanda, no last names, Kenneth Bethard, what is this? Anna Kay, Lisa Goins, Clark and Diane Trowbridge, Taylor Cigars, Morgan Joyner, Mike Waller, Jonathan Sladek, Allison Newton, Jay Howard, Christy Aris, Fallon Easily. Oh boy. I don't know. Wyatt Decker, Shayna with no last name, Grace Vinicombe, Brienne Colton, Emily Wilson, Jonathan Junevicius, Junevicus?
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
One of those, probably.
Carlos Moran, Amy Moon, Richard Kraft, Rachel Archer, Hannah Bishop, Tom Raimondos. Oh, boy. Jessica Hage, Channing Cook, Tele. No last name. Fleur Bernard.
No last name.
Kimberly Sue Phillips, Damon Stevens, Haley Roach, Paul with no last name, Tina Hall, Neil Skickinger. Boy, oh boy. Adam Brennan, Anita Lindsay, Sarah Pollert. What the fuck? Elizabeth Aquino, Phyllis Barnwell, Carrie Beth Smith, Sydney with no last name, Ari Carney, or Ari. Not Ari. It's Ari, James.
Ari.
Jen with an exclamation point. Lindsay with no last name. Rachel Shaw, Kaylee Church, Nicole Lukey. Kyle Roos, Tracy Kelly, JB with no last name. Chris Kuzmic, Travis Peterson, Garrett Luneau, Robert Durham, Andrea K. Wood, Christian Carlson, Raven Queen, Elizabeth Pepperdine, Rusty Shackleford, John Mead, Trevor Roenfeld, Amanda Nicole, Jen with no last name, Katie O'Boyle, Samantha Sprague, John Jamon. Boyle.
Jumanji?
I got to work on myself. Shauna McCormick.
I got to work on myself.
Denise with no last name. Jean Daler. Cheryl Sharp. Kyle Jacobson. Zoe with no last name. John Mazias. Christina with no last name. Alex Parker. Misty JT. Samara McFadden. Chris and Devi. Tracy Wickards. The Mobile Leprechaun. Hannah Michniak. Michael Angerstein, Wyatt Dalton, Eric Garza, Renee Dupras, Michelle Vos, Elizabeth Stark, just one Stark, singular, not John's kids.
Not John Starks.
Gloria Goins, Madeline Dupois, Julie Gleer, Christy with no last name, John Sanchez, Kyle Conger, Steve Grant, Christina Garrett, Brandon Kramer, Kim Wilkins, Lead? I think it's Lead. Jesus, I don't know. Jared Lindquist, Dan Voss of the Voss Fortune. He makes amazing water, that Dan.
All those tall bottles of glass water. That's how he knows how to do it.
Ethan Paula, Angelina Law, Jamie Wenish, Sarah Lacatz, Brianne Scott, Deja Boston, Jenny Fisher, Cheyenne Dodson, Cody Williamson,
Hold on.
Lydia
We don't
Ware.
buy Voss water, by the way. That's been provided to us at
I will
comedy
never
clubs
buy that.
before. I've never purchased. That's insanely expensive. I don't want people to be like, these fucking guys are drinking Perrier and Voss water. If we're on the road before a show, Jimmie will stop at 7-Eleven and get like one of those sparkling Perriers for $1.89 to drink so his throat feels good. And we only have Voss when someone gives it to us at a comedy club. And then we steal a couple out of the little cooler and put it in our bag for later because we're fucking trash. Just so you know. Please don't think that we're fancy.
Don't think we're pompous cunts who think we need to drink Voss water to survive.
No. When it's given to us, like, oh, God, put it in your bag. That's expensive.
There's Voss in here.
Take the gum, too. Take the gum from up there, too. That's how we are.
Empty the fridge. They'll refill it.
Yeah, they will. They don't know. They'll think we're really thirsty. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Cody Williamson, Lydia Ware, Artavius Mitchum, Konoko Kitsune. I know that.
Hey, cool.
I don't know that.
He's
Probably
very confident, though.
Andrea No, Abigail with no last name, Lauren Gaden, Corey Wheat, Ashley Gray, Austin Skurlak, Dayton Vick, Justin Wood, Desiree Felton, Charlotte Whitehead, Sarah Chatterton, I think that's right, Ronnie Ronell. Ollie Woodward, Leah Stroud, Shaban with no last name, Tom H, M.M. McSwain, or McSwain, I don't know what that is. Melinda Metz, Rebecca Moreno, Marshall Barker, and Sky Hill, Adrian Shutt, Kevin with no last name, Brittany Salaturo, Matt Hollowell, Carly with no last name, Reginald Jones, Krista Odom, Kate with no last name, Vern Lyons, Dakota Violet, Christina, Megan Wittenberg, Adam Milham, Sean Lang, Justin Halls, John Hiles, Tiffany Lombard.
Hey.
Evil Queen Ellie, Rebecca Davies Thomas, Tyler D, Kay Morales, Alex Goodspeed, Abigail Enrique, Gina Nichols, Creed Don't Worry About It, Holly Neeram, Sarah Inskeep, Derek, Sturdivant, Jeffrey Rice, John Pritchard, Josh Johansson, Morgan with no last name, Amberlyn Ditto, Shelby Land, Brian Seaman, Kenny Gregg, Marilyn Dunaway, Steph Clements, Corinne Darcy, Catherine Freehot, Freehout, Christelle Neary, Erica Buckley, Samantha Labs, April Chero, Kristen Martin, Dalton Wick, Justin Hillhouse, Heather Hilgenbottom, Hilgenbotham. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
Tyler with no last name, Marianne Bakervic, Jesse Olson, Becca Thompson, Local Media, Chuma Nuawabab. I'm a piece of garbage. Wilma Fistfit, Amy Monroe, Angie Ann. That's just Ann Patefield. Big Antonio Lopez, Jacob Ortigo, Daniel Quinn, Amanda Geraldine Harper, Liz Allison, Jordan Thompson, Melanie McWhirter, Gaby, Katie H., and Chandler East, and obviously all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. We can't do the show without you. Thank you so much.
God damn it. Yes, thank you.
There's a lot of people.
That's a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Honestly, everybody, for what you do for us. And Jimmie, what if they wanted to talk to you or thank you or hurl insults at you? How could they do that?
You can find me, my friends Kevin and Larry, over at the trailer with a can of beans and a fresh pot of coffee. Come on by.
Sounds good. We'll add me to that list because I'll be there as well. Google us on our can of beans and we'll be doing that. Yeah. So that said, thank you for taking a crazy shit wild journey through the West with us today. Through the West and back to the East and on the back of a car. Think about that. That's how that seemed like there's been so much crazy since then that it's like, oh yeah, he was hanging on a luggage rack, standing on a bumper, screaming, motherfucker, at elderly people.
We're lucky to catch him. That's what it is.
Honestly, that is crazy shit. So with all that, thank you for hanging out with us. And, we're just excited to have you, and we're excited to come back next week and the week after that. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.